Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm, and you are watching What If Naruto Was Trained by a Legendary Bounty Hunter. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no time, let's start the story.
Kakashi just saved Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura from the Demon Brothers. Kakashi said, appearing lethargic, "Yo." Then Sakura screamed, "Sensei, don't scare us like that." After giving a slight flinch, Naruto moved to a tree and took a seat. "Sakura, I'd calm down if I were you. This has just gone from bad to worse, and we don't need your screeching right now." Naruto responded with an odd sense of calm. He held out his hand with his fingers extended and palm facing up. On the tips of his fingers a flame appeared. "Sensei, why don't you find out why Dazuna lied about the mission? I'll see if I can't call an old friend for some back up." Sasuke questioned, irritated, "What are you talking about, Dobi?" As the flames grew, Naruto said, "Someone that would likely make you piss your pants in fear if he ever showed his full strength." Then he created a huge, thin flame by pressing his fingertips together. Kakashi was the only one who noticed, but when he opened his hand rapidly, it turned into a deep blue fire with a few traces of lightning. "Please, don't ask me questions until after I'm done with contacting him." When Kakashi looked at him, he noticed something about Naruto that he had never expected. He meant it. Naruto never takes things seriously. Everyone is aware of this. Kakashi thought, this is either a fake or everyone who seems to know him is wrong. Sasuke asked, his eyes hard, "Who are you, and what have you done with the Dobi?" In the flame, a face emerged. Naruto said, "Hey, Gonta. Where are you right now?" "I'm currently traveling through Fire Country on my way to Wave Country." "Why?" "Well, I'm on a C rank, that just got elevated to B rank. Possibility of it going A rank is present." Naruto replied. He said that, and no one else knew why. Ironically, our client is from Wave Country, and is building a bridge. In the end, Kakashi asked, "Why is that ironic?" "Oh, shit. Now, where are you?" "Since my target was last spotted in Wave Country, I'm making progress." "So," Naruto said, "who's your current target, then?" Since they couldn't hear a word Gonta was saying, everyone else was perplexed. "The Demon of the Hidden Mist is Zabuza Momochi, former member of the 7 Ninja Swordsmen of the Mist, and an A-rank rogue. He's probably the cause if it rises to A rank. Hold on, you're within range. I'll be there in 3 seconds." In fact, a man showed up 3 seconds after he was done. He was dressed in a sweatsuit that appeared to be made of spandex and was dark blue, almost black. And then there was the vest, which bore a striking resemblance to cyan armor, albeit with far darker hues. Apart from the head, the only other object they saw was a dark gray cloak. His eyes appeared more brown, and his hair was a dark red color. Additionally, he carried 2 swords, but they were both sheathed over his shoulders. Kakashi and Sasuke were immediately alert. Naruto said, "He's good, guys. Relax. I didn't think you'd get this close this quickly. I mean, we're good 2 hours out for Shinobi." The man looked at Kakashi and then asked, "Did you forget how quickly I can go when needed?" He turned back to Naruto and said, "Kakashi Hatake. A rank Konoha Shinobi. You made Genin and landed him as a sensei?" The response from Naruto was, "Yeah, but he hasn't taught me anything but team exercises. This team never seems to work like it should." Naruto remarked, "I happen to agree." Kakashi was taken aback by the statement. Unless the situation calls for it, teamwork is non-existent. First off, we have an arrogant asshole who think that he's above everyone else because of his clan. Then we have a fangirl that does nothing and only made it by thanks to her skill in academics. Then there's me. This isn't a team, and it certainly doesn't act like it unless something like the Demon Brothers show up to face us." Gonta glanced around. An Uchiha, a Haruno, Kakashi himself, and then someone I've trained since he was nearly 8. Yeah, most of you won't do much good here." With an earnest tone, Kakashi questioned, "You downplaying this squad?" "Not entirely. When you think about it, the Uchiha won't work with anyone. He's giving off an arrogant vibe. The girl, which I can easily assume is a Haruno, is weak physically, and doesn't bother to train physically." Sasuke and Sakura were offended by this observation. In fact, the only ones among you 4 that could handle this happens to be Naruto and you, Kakashi. Sasuke yelled, "The Dobi of our class? He can't be better than me?" Gonta's eyebrow went up. "You graduated at the bottom, didn't you? Hey, you said to hide any and all skills that weren't needed. Besides, I graduated after flushing out a Chunin level traitor. I've been playing the fool all throughout the academy, and even into my Genin days, which is only about a month at this point. I've done everything just how they expected me to from our days in the academy. They have no idea how powerful I truly am, and all my true training goes on in 2 places. Really? And how far are you with the Master Seal? Replied Gonta. Naruto answered, currently? 42. Gonta blew a whistle. That's at least 200x for the gravity seal, 800 pounds for the weight seals, 42 for the resistance seals, and 42 for the suppression seals. Impressive. Then again, I expected you to be at least at level 60 by now. What? Did Kurama hold you back for longer than you should have? Naruto shrugged and said, only until I could use one tail without losing control of myself. Then I level up. I was closing in on level 43 before I went for this mission, and I've been using a shadow clone for the D ranks while I train on my own in Makai. It's better for me to train there than in the village. Which section? Kitsune. Good. Kakashi commanded. Naruto. Explain. I've been training on my own for years, in things you'd never be able to comprehend. Kakashi questioned, and why is it that you've never showed any of it off? A dumb demon that hides his true skill lives longer than a smart demon that flaunts it like it was everything, goes a saying in Makai about people who come here. In other words, I've been playing the fool for people who weren't smart enough to notice, and what would happen if I became too powerful for them. Also, you know the council. Kakashi's only eye grew wide with insight. You mean? Yes. It was for my own survival. They'd call for my execution if I were too powerful for them, or if I could annihilate them within 3 seconds. Naruto replied with evenness. And you know full well why. Unfortunately, Sasuke and Sakura aren't in the loop, and neither is our client. The law prevents it from being let out, you know? That's the only reason they don't know, and I'd very much like to keep it that way. At that moment, Kakashi realized everything. So, you only hid your skill to avoid the council calling your execution? That, and the fact that if I wanted to turn on the village they likely wouldn't stand much of a chance. I mean, come on. I outran Anbu as an academy student, with myself restricted to the max. What does that tell you? Replied Naruto. Anyway, it was better for me to hide what I could truly do, and live another day, than go all out, and possibly kill anyone that got in my path. Civilians included. Gonta gave that a nod. You've grown a lot since I first met you. I'm kind of glad for that, you know? I'm glad that I took your advice regarding shadow clones and bandit camps. That helped with real-time experience. Gonta nodded, glancing at him. For the remainder of this mission, release restraint will be needed. Especially if my target is still in wave. Yeah. Besides, this is only the 3rd time we've worked together, and the first we've done so against Ninja. Right, White Devil? Gonta said, exactly, Shadow Fox. Startled, Kakashi questioned, wait. Did you just call him, White Devil? What of it? Inquired Naruto. It's a name I came up with for him, and Shadow Fox is what he calls me in the field, anyway. It was better that way, since no one should have known I was out there doing shit that I probably shouldn't have been, but when was I ever one to follow the rules? Kakashi nodded in agreement after paying attention to the statement. You know, that's probably the only thing that both sides have in common, isn't it? But still. The White Devil himself trained you? Gonta said, you sound like you're surprised. Well, yeah, I'm surprised. No one knows where you come from, and anyone that has tried finding you ends up dead with their own bounty cashed in, or their head is sent back to their village. Yeah, I know. Gonta dismissed him with a wave. Then again, you got a bingo book on you? Before taking it out, Naruto confessed, I picked one up a week before I graduated from a bandit camp. Why? Gonta said, look in the SS class section. When Naruto did so, he discovered him inside, but the image was only a silhouette of him wearing a cloak. See how many I've defeated? Naruto whistled as he glanced at the list. Someone's been busy. Gonta shrugged and said, gotta make a living somehow, am I right? Naruto posted, true. Still, I didn't check it that far. Flee on sight, though. Well, I can't help it if I can't keep my targets alive for too long. After they wake up, I can either sedate them, or kill them. After 3 times, I kill them, because they all are annoying as hell. Replied Gonta. Iwa has only put out 2 flee on sight orders, and the other was the Yondaime Hokage. Damn. Was Naruto's response. And Kushina had a flee on sight order from Suna, along with a kill on sight order from Iwa, Kumo, and Kiri. According to Naruto, that's fucked up. Tell me about it. You two are obviously close, but I'm sorry, I can't risk my team on this mission, Kakashi said. You didn't ask why he lied about the mission, did you? Replied Naruto. Kakashi started to perspire. Gonta nodded and said, Tazuna, right? Well, if I'm correct, Gato is in Wave. Last island he took control of lost all of its resources. After Uzushiogakure was destroyed, he went there and bankrupted it. If he's in Wave, he's bound to be doing the same thing there. Tazuna gave a nod. I'm sorry I lied but. And that's why that, regardless of them coming or not, I'll be going. Gonta said. And Naruto? You're coming with. Like I would leave a village that is on the verge of self-destruction when I know I can help. But if my team isn't coming, I'm not going as Naruto, but Shadow Fox. Sasuke said, hey, if the Dobi's in, so am I, but Sasuke. Sasuke shot at Sakura, saying, but nothing. I can't let a clanless loser outdo me. Even when both of my clans are dead, and have been since the day I was born. Replied Naruto. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Gonta, the Uzumaki clan was supposedly eradicated by Iwa, Kumo and Kiri nearly 30 years ago. A little over 20 years before I was born. Even then, it took, what, 2 months to take out any of them? Records state that it took 3 months, 2 weeks, and 2 days before they actually got rid of most of them. Kushina was one of the last ones, and she was your mother, after all, Gonta said. And then my other clan. Gonta interrupted, saying, no records on Namikaze anywhere. Unfortunately, I've looked for anything indicating them and found nothing. Last known was your father. Naruto remarked, damn, and he died against the Kyuubi. Sakura yelled, how do you even have parents? You're an orphan. Gonta let out a sigh. Just because he has no parents now, doesn't mean he never did. Hell, he had them for, I'd say a few hours at most. Lost his mother right after childbirth, and father died against Kyuubi. Or are you so stupid you can't see that? Naruto said, she's got a brain, Gonta. She just has no common sense, or sense of a true kunoichi. Oh yeah. I remember seeing myself in the A-rank section of the same bingo book, mainly due to the crime lords I've brought in during my bandit camp raids, and always under the name Shadow Fox, outfit and everything. Gonta remarked, I noticed. Kakashi said, looks like we're continuing, however, I expect to see what you can truly do during the course of the mission. Naruto and Gonta both shrugged. The release restraint was called for. Luckily, I've trained for this with and without the need for it. Mainly so I don't have any problems with the mass adjustments. Replied Naruto. Although, I've only done that in Makai. Gonta grinned in response. Let's set up camp. It's gotten late, so it's best if we rest up until morning. While the original stayed with Gonta, Naruto created a few shadow clones and had them set up the tents. Sakura gathered some logs for the fire, and Sasuke lit it. Tazuna and Kakashi were conversing. Then Sasuke approached Gonta. Train me. Sorry, I don't train arrogant assholes, and you give off the aura of one. Lose the arrogance and sense of superiority. Then we'll talk, Gonta replied. I deserve. I will only say this once. Power isn't deserved. It isn't given at birth, regardless of what people think. A name has no true strength. It is the person that has it, and humanity has lost all sense of that fact. Power can only be gained through hard work. There are no shortcuts to strength or power, Gonta said. Naruto gave Sasuke a scowl. If you think about demanding training from him, you'll end up in the ditch. The village has no hold over him, for several reasons. For one, he's not aligned with any village, civilian or shinobi. Second, he trains people he deems worthy. I know what he looks for. You have none of the things on that list from what I've seen of you. Sakura nearly lost her mind when she saw the exchange. Naruto's glare prevented her from doing so. His eyes were blood red with a black slit, not blue. That caused her to visibly recoil. If you so much as say that he deserves it when it's the choice of the teacher, then you're as good as dead. I'm only teaching those I deem worthy. He only teaches those he deems worthy. Our standards are basically the same, but the levels in mine are higher than his, and so are the penalties for breaking the rules laid out. Gonta gave Naruto a smile. Taking my teachings to heart, Naruto? Of course I am. I'd be a fool not to. After all, I found that I can only get stronger with those ideals, and it's a lot better than going with his ideals, which are focused around revenge, Naruto said. And you really think I wouldn't teach him? Sasuke was shocked when Naruto said, without a doubt. Everything I've seen out of him is about gaining power to kill his brother. If I were the same idiot they thought I was, I would have tried filling that spot instead of the one that had it by blood. However, that was before I found out just what happened that night, and the truth behind the whole matter. Where did you find out? Naruto answered, Kitsune Realm, of course. They were celebrating it because they actually hate the Uchiha clan for what they always did to their kind, along with Kurama. When I asked why they died that night, well, what I found out was both expected of them, and made me feel a little better because Kurama was safer. Thing is, there are 3 Uchiha left. One caused the Kyuubi attack, one performed the massacre on orders, and the last one is a survivor of said massacre. Sasuke turned pale. You're lying, there's only 2 left. Naruto gave Sasuke a scowl. If by 2 you mean those that have activated the Mangekyo level, then yes. You haven't even activated your Sharingan yet. Itachi has the Mangekyo. And the last one has the Eternal Mangekyo. The Kitsune clan have been keeping tabs on anyone with the Sharingan, and last week, 2 had it active, and 1 has the potential to activate it. He's right. I've only encountered the 3rd one once, and he had outmaneuvered me during that time. This is not without consequence, however. He had lost his left eye during the confrontation. Said Gonta. He now wears an orange spiral mask with 1 hole allowing him to see through with his only working eye. Although Naruto saw that it was a lie, he remained silent. Sasuke, however, took offense at the affront. Whatever. You obviously can't handle yourself with. Gonta interrupted. The Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. I know how the Mangekyo Sharingan works. Itachi can't beat me. The Eternal Mangekyo, however, I have very little knowledge of. For a first encounter with the Eternal Mangekyo, that is far better than most can claim. Gonta nodded as Naruto said, going up against something you have little to no knowledge of, survival rate is low, if I remember correctly. Kakashi sighed after taking in the majority of what they were saying. Gonta, do you mind if I talk to you, alone? With a sigh, Gonta stood up. While they both vanished from the Genin's view, Naruto's senses remained intact. Fine. But if I feel like blowing you off, I will. The clearing of forests in the middle of the clearing were Gonta and Kakashi. What is it that you want? I'm only here for Naruto's sake. That's just it. Why hasn't anyone heard about you and him partnering up with anyone? If you're talking about the relationship between us, that's his story to tell. Frankly, I have no desire to join up with you, but since he is around, I will partner with him. That is all. My current target is in Wave Country anyway. That brings my next question. Who is your target? Zabuza Momochi. My sources, which ironically are the same as Naruto's, have stated that Zabuza entered Wave Country a few days back. I was passing through Fire Country to get there from Wind Country. An A-rank rogue? You seriously think those genin can handle that? Kakashi said. If Naruto doesn't hold back, then he and I can take him no problem. I was originally intending to take him down myself, so you know. The fact that Naruto is already classified as an A-class shinobi himself in the bingo books doesn't do him much justice. I've trained him for years, and know he's capable. The way I see it, you, me and Naruto are the only ones that can handle him. Naruto, if you haven't found out by now, has already made his first kill. What exactly does his training entail? Mostly control, manipulation, and a few jutsu I think he could learn, and I know the concept behind. I had him learn element jutsu without hand signs, through pure manipulation. I give him the description of a few jutsu in any given element, and he has to be able to use them to their full effect without hand signs. I had also trained him a bit in kenjutsu, if you're wondering. He doesn't have a sword of his own, to my knowledge. His taijutsu and kenjutsu styles are his own. I gave him basics, and he worked from there. And you think that actually works? Gonta answered. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It makes him more efficient at the jutsu, because it allows him to know how the jutsu works inside and out. There are only 2 ninjutsu I have actively trained him in, and one of those 2 has been marked, do not use, until he goes for his first Chunin exams. The other is when he has a Junin sensei, or he somehow gets his hands on a scroll with it in there. Which one is for the Chunin exams? I am not at liberty to say, since you would not believe I knew how it works if I did. It is an A rank, and rare, as few knew how to use it properly. And the other? He used it to set up the camp. I taught it to him when he was 9. Replied Gonta. My only guess is he has met the requirement for it. However, I have trained him in a massively unknown element. It's the reason he is called Shadow Fox. You trained him to use the Yin element. No, I trained him to use Void. It is something he gets because of the Kyuubi, who has a name. When I can't help him out, he can. After seeing what I can do, he is a lot more helpful. Do you know? Gonta interrupted him, saying, how dangerous it is? Yes, I do. In fact, I'm the reason he's even bothering to cooperate at all. Kakashi gave him a fierce look. How? Well, this is how it went. Rewind. The Kitsune realm is where Naruto and Gonta first met. Naruto said, all right, what are we learning today? I believe it's time for you to learn of what you have within. Naruto inquired, what I have? What do you mean? I have taught you meditation for finding things far out of your usual range. Now, you need to use it to see inside of yourself. Gonta said. I shall be going with you when you make it there. Wherever you end up is your mindscape. Naruto nodded despite raising an eyebrow. He had come to understand that Gonta never gave him orders without cause. He ended up in a sewer after a few minutes. Gonta entered through a glow, and he saw it. Sensei? Gonta said, told you, I'd come. Unfortunately, this is your mind. There is a power in here that is not yours. Head to it, and I will follow. Why do I need to lead? Gonta acknowledged, it's your mind. My sense of direction is useless here. After a little while of walking, they came to a gate. Gonta recognized this right away, as did the person responsible. Yo, Fox. Wake the fuck up. One red eye opened. Both eyes opened after a few seconds, and the words, quiet down. Some of us are trying to sleep here. How the fuck did you get in here without me noticing? Because I meant no harm to his state of mind, so you had written me off as nothing. Gonta replied. There's a reason I'm here, though. Naruto questioned, what do you mean? First off, I believe he should know the truth of the night he was born. Unfortunately, I am not allowed to say anything, as I, technically, wasn't there. Hell, I wasn't even in the elemental countries once at that point. So, you came here, knowing I was here, but not willing to explain what you knew. The reason being, you were there. I wasn't. Better to hear from someone who was there, than from rumors, or second-hand sources. And you really think I'll just say it? Gonta said, well, there's more to it than that. I also came with a deal, Kurama. Kyuubi said nothing. Go on. I know you don't want your container to be weak. That's a given. So instead of calling him weak, and not bothering to do anything, why not train him yourself? It's obvious that his village won't do a damn thing but stunt his progress. And what do I get out of this? Well, first off, a stronger container. Second, I know of several ways for you to have your own body. I simply lack the means to do so myself. When the time comes, I'd be giving the information to him, and he'd do so. What good would that do? Some may or may not work. That is the only problem with them, but there are several. However, at that point, he would easily be able to control all 9 taels worth of your chakra, has reached an SSS class shinobi status, whereas his father was only SS class. When he is good enough to be your successor, then he will get them. Between now and then, I will also be gathering the information I need on a few of them. And I can teach him what I wish, as long as it doesn't clash with the few things I'd be teaching him, yes. Though, there are only 2 that I can think of right now, and could teach him here and now. Kurama remained quiet for a while. How about this? I train him to my specifications, and you add on to what I give him. However, you give him basics, and I help him improve on them. Gonta sighed as she turned to face him. The only thing that I would want no interference in is the Rasengan. Everything else will be a collaboration, or just you. Unfortunately, I am not that proficient in ninjutsu, even though I know what to accomplish. Then how do you know they work? Knowing something and having the ability to perform it are 2 completely different things. One of the things he should learn is how to use jutsu without hand signs. There is only one that I think we can forego for that. The mass shadow clone technique. Mass shadow clone? Inquired Naruto. And why are you discussing my training? The Kyuubi Kurama said, well, I must say I'm impressed. I'm in. However, once he is up to snuff, he will become a kitsune himself. Explain. I will train him, but not just in the shinobi arts. You have proven your knowledge to be worthwhile, while your ninjutsu and genjutsu ability lacks. However, what you lack is easily covered up by what you have. When he is ready, I will let him know, and he will take my place, and I will leave him be. Naruto questioned, and what will become of you? It will not matter at that point. I will have no further purpose, and thus, I will wither and die, or you could release me. At that point, the choice is yours. Should you choose to release me, I am free to do as I please. If I stay, you will have to put up with me until I wither away. If I die, you won't. If you die, I will. Gonta said, weird aspect of the seal. Am I to assume it binds your soul to his, but not the other way around? That is how it seems. At that moment, a man who appeared to be an older Naruto showed up. Who are you, and what are you doing here? Gonta said, Minato Namikaze. You are here to prevent him from being released, correct? How did you? I know more than I let on. I believe you sealed part of your chakra, and Kushina's as well, correct? No one knew about that. Naruto questioned, wait, you sealed him inside of me? Why? Minato gave Naruto a look. Naruto nodded and said, "You know who I am, correct? Do you think I would ask someone else to do something that I wouldn't do myself?" Naruto gave him a look. Gonta let out a sigh. The village didn't honor your last wish. They see him as a demon that should have been killed, instead of reborn. "They did what?" exclaimed Minato. He glanced at Kurama, then at Naruto. He faced Gonta once more. "How do you know this?" "The Sandaime was reinstated after your death, and the civilian council rose in power. He can't eat anywhere but one place in the village, and shops either overcharge him, or don't even let him in. This is only going off of what I can tell for sure, so that's probably sugarcoating it." Naruto said in a low voice, "Hokage. Gigi and the guys at Ichiraku's ramen are the only ones that are even close to being nice to me. I think they know, but they don't seem to care about that, unlike anyone else." Minato was furious, and the killing intent he released was sensed by Naruto, Gonta, and Kurama. "I should have let them burn to the ground. I should have listened to Kushina. They would never honor my wish, and I didn't listen. Wow. I didn't think he'd agree with me there." Minato gave Kurama a look. "Shut it, Fox." Gonta said, "Minato, you're still pissed off. Just tell us where you would have put access to your clan jutsu, original jutsu, and anything his mother would have hidden." "Wait. He's my father. I thought that was obvious with what he said about not doing anything he wouldn't do," Gonta said. Naruto took a moment to process this. "So, you used your own son to house a demon that was on a rampage." Minato said, "And it's something I regret doing either way. 3 kilometers to the southwest of Training Ground 44. There's a space. Time barrier that only one of my kin can go into. Kushina and I are the only ones that know of its existence. Sarutobi only had a scroll with a blood seal that houses your inheritance. That was what I told him. That was only a partial lie. It only gives directions to the real inheritance. It was to be given to you under one of 3 conditions. 1. Godem is named. 2. You reach Chunin rank. 3. You are 18 years old." Naruto said, "But wait, I don't fall under any of them. What they don't know won't hurt them. If anyone asks, say you came across it on accident, but if no one asks, don't say a word on it. The fact that you didn't know I was your father means that no one knew, or there was a law placed that forbid it from being said to anyone." "Wait, is there a complete autobiography of you anywhere?" "Complete? Not likely. Autobiography? No biography? It's possible." Minato acknowledged. "If you come across Jiraiya of the Sannin, and so you know, he's a massive pervert, ask him for his first book. It's titled, Tale of a Gutsy Shinobi. You got your name from it, for one. The other reason I say this. If you want to know anything about me, you'll need to see what the main character acts like. That's what I was like, most of the time. On the battlefield, I could be ruthless, and was easily feared by my enemies. At home, I was compassionate, and caring. The Naruto in that book was basically the same way, with one difference. He didn't kill without good reason. Well, I'm training to be a ninja myself. Gonta here is helping me. Is he now? I wouldn't be around all the time. I have no wish to work under the Hokage at this point. At the moment, I am nothing more than a traveling warrior that knows a lot of things I shouldn't. Where I'm from, ninja do not use ninjutsu, or genjutsu. We relied on weaponry and stealth. However, I am familiar with nin, general, and taijutsu. Kenjutsu and taijutsu, I have a good idea to train him for that. However, the style he will use will be of his own making. It would take years to pull this off, so I was going to teach him the mass shadow clone jutsu. You do realize that it's a kenjutsu, correct? And he's a jinchuriki. One of the reasons it is labeled kenjutsu is because of the chakra cost, correct? Minato gave a nod. The only other reason is because of the mental strain from the memory transferability, correct? He repeated his nod. Being a Jinchuriki has the chakra cost down, but what do you plan on doing about the mental strain? Asked Minato. Gonta answered, same way he got here. Meditation. If he is unconscious, it will allow him to absorb information a lot easier, along with sort through it. Not to mention the fact I'll be helping. After giving it some thought, Minato nodded. Alright, I'll allow it. However, there is a limit to what that can entail. I know this, and we will find out that limit throughout training. Rasengan, and yes, I know how to perform it, and Mass Shadow Clone Jutsu are the only two I'll be teaching him directly, as I know the full aspects of learning them. I don't remember showing you. You didn't have to. In fact, you and I have never met. I just know how it works. Prove it. First thing you need is rotation. It has to be in several directions, and go extremely fast. The second thing you need is power, and a lot of it. The final piece you need is containment and control. Gonta said. The end result is a small ball in the palm of your hand that looks a lot more like a miniature hurricane contained in a sphere. Minato said, all points correct. Get him to learn how to use it with one hand. I know there are other ways, but that's taking a shortcut. Oh, I know that. However, even after mastering water walking, I highly doubt that he could do it like that. It's a matter of control. I have several ideas to compensate that little problem, so he would be able to get there eventually. Like what? For starters, the waterfall climbing. Then there's elemental training, which he'd be getting through learning jutsu without hand signs. Hand signs are merely a shortcut for jutsu, after all. Fire, wind and water are the main jutsu he is likely to learn. I will also be teaching him from my own elements. This includes the void element. It's not one that can be inherited through blood usually, as anyone can grasp the concept. However, since he will one day become my successor, as per our deal, it will pass through like a bloodline, but only after I am gone. Gonta, Naruto, and Minato gazed at him. Each of them gave a nod. Minato said, I think we can all agree on that. Make sure no one else knows about this, though. Each of them gave a nod. Kai, flashback, Gonta said, and that's it. He gave enough, but omitted the parts that shouldn't have come out. Any jutsu he knows, he would know how to perform without hand signs, aside from the shadow clone jutsu. And this is only to my knowledge. In regards to genjutsu, I have no idea how far he progressed. He doesn't use them often. Oh really? Inquired Kakashi. If you want to know anything else about his abilities, that is for you to ask him. I managed to get Kurama to cooperate. Don't fuck it up, and no one is to know. Gonta said in a stern tone. Kakashi let out a sigh. Fine. But where is his control level? Surely, you can give that. Last time I saw him, it was near perfect. Ask him for a time frame. I move too often to keep track. His full set of abilities, even I am not aware of them. Kakashi gave that a nod. I guess that's all I'm gonna get out of you. However, I will need to let the Hokage know that he has made contact with the Kyuubi. I'll leave out the name, though. Keep that one on the down low. Just play the name Kurama as a friend of yours, and you're good. Not a lie, either. Kurama is a bit of a friend to both of us, Gonta said. Let's head back. Nothing else to talk about, after all. They returned to camp. They discovered Sakura was quiet, Sasuke was ruminating, and Naruto was meditating. What happened here? Their voice was Tezuna's. Duck Butt got pissed Blondie wouldn't train him. Pinky got rejected and nearly killed by Blondie. Blondie has a colorful mouth when ticked off, I'll admit. He got them both to shut up. After he did that, they started doing what they are now. Naruto's eyes opened. Glad to see you're back, Gonta, sensei. Looks like you shut them up. After this, though, my act will have to drop. Word will spread, after all, said Naruto. No need for that. However, you have outgrown most of what I am supposed to teach you already. Kakashi replied. I'm afraid I don't know what to teach you, at this point. I would teach you one of my original jutsu, but I'm not sure if you can learn them easily. Which ones? Inquired Naruto. All I need are element and rank, to be honest. Lightning, a rank. Both of them, although one is flawed, since it's a straight shot. Naruto gave Gonta a look. I think I can handle that. Came up with an S-rank lightning jutsu, after all. Which one? Inquired Gonta. Pure lightning strike. The one with no chakra usage. One of my 3 last ditch moves. Naruto said. Think I could handle them? Gonta paused to reflect. Chidori and Reikari, correct? Kakashi gave nod. Well, shit. Teach him Reikari. He should have Chidori down. Naruto gave a headshake. I don't, but I have a short way to go at this point. That kind of manipulation is not easy. Not with lightning. Out of all 5 elements, lightning is the hardest for me to go through, and wind is the easiest. Gonta said, show me your progress before we get back, because after the next Chunin exams, I'll taking you on as an apprentice myself. Naruto's gaze expanded. Wait, does that mean? Yes. I'm coming to Konohagakure with you. However, I have my own things to do, and as such, I will be giving my own conditions for staying, Gonta replied. As Naruto smiled, a thought occurred to him. I almost forgot. I need to pick up the Suba Kidodo had made for me. Rigaldo in Makai Market is the smith, and it should be ready tomorrow. You want me to get, or stick with them so you can? Replied Gonta. Naruto paused, realizing they were both out of it. Well, if I get it, you have to deal with the emo bastard, and screeching Haruno. But if you get it, you might miss your target if we run into him. Gonta gave his ear a tap. Naruto inquired. Are you wearing hearing aids now? Sorry, I can't hear you. How? Naruto moaned. Sound barrier around my ears. I can't hear anything except what my own body does. Gonta said. It helps, if you catch my drift. That'll help. But what about the wind? Gonta answered, unaffected. And you remember what I taught you about things you can't see or hear your opponent, and your nose is basically blocked from picking them up? Naruto gave a nod. Use it to your advantage. Suddenly recalling something, Gonta produced a scroll. Naruto approached him and observed him creating a seal. Kakashi was also watching it when it was finished. What is it? Before turning to face Naruto, Gonta said, I tend to have random strokes of genius. I just remembered something about Konoha that would help if I had a way to counter it. Pop quiz. What will this seal do? Naruto took a few moments to study it. It's going to stop certain sounds, or voices. As to what? Haruno and youth would be keywords. Aside from that, I have no idea. Gonta nodded and said, wait. Youth? As in power of youth? I'll admit that some of the most powerful beings ever have some kind of quirk. Even I do. But when someone has to get loud for that, it gets old after a while, and even more annoying. What about the Haruno? Well known to be like banshees in their screech. When they get high enough in volume, it'll block out their voice, and your ears won't pick it up. Anything regarding youth will not be heard. Kakashi was amazed. Think you could make one of those for the village for the power of youth? If I can figure out a way to get it over a wide area, why not? For now, only Naruto's getting it. Gonta said. Shirt off. Better to do this now than later. The seal was placed on Naruto's back after he did so. After channeling something into his hand, Gonta applied pressure to the scroll's back, causing it to transfer. Even Naruto did not grunt. Naruto said, that was oddly painless. Could be Kurama, or it could be your training. It's the training. You've been through a lot worse regarding your back. Naruto acknowledged. He says it's the training. Alright. I'll go for the Suba. You stick around. If he shows, flare the Yuki. If I don't get there in 10 seconds, all bets are off. And this includes your father's shit. Think I can use Bloodbath during this? I always liked using it, for some reason, and it's close to the Suba in design. Naruto responded. Gonta responded by extending his left hand, which became glowing. He threw a sheathed sword at him after drawing it. He glanced at Kakashi and said, use it well, and don't break it. If your other students ask, tell them I'm on an errand that will help on the mission. 2 days later, Wave Country was where Team 7 had just touched down. Despite his calm appearance, Naruto was extremely vigilant. They had just landed, and Gonta was still not back. Then he heard someone speaking. Sorry, it's taking so long, Naru. It was just now finished, so I'm bringing it to you now. It needs your blood and energy for it to be complete. Noted, Naruto answered. We just arrived in Wave Country, too. Not a trace of. Hold on. I sense two presences. One is obviously suppressing their chakra to the fullest extent possible because they lack it. I know they're both there, but they can't tell. Wait for them to make the first move. Use the Yuki pulse to stop it if necessary. Naruto then saw something approaching them and said, Roger that. It was also quick. He yelled, everyone down, as he tackled Sakura, causing Sasuke to fall to the ground and Kakashi to knock Tazuna down. Zabuza Momochi, A.N. If I had to describe his attire, then you should go in a hole and die, landed on the Zanbato that would have cut their heads, saying, well well. Looks like the green genin picked me up first. I must be getting sloppy. Naruto grinned. Ever hear of the Shadow Fox? Wait a minute, you're the Shadow Fox? In response, Naruto said, you catch on quickly. Zabuza said, oh shit. That means the White Devil is nearby. Just hand over the old man. I don't have a death wish right now, and I really don't want to fight the fabled White Devil or the Shadow Fox. During his speech, Naruto displayed some Yuki, but no one noticed. Unfortunately for you, the old man is the client, so we can't let him go. Zabuza snapped back, well, shit. Guess I'll have to fight. Naruto called out to everyone, what about the other one I picked up? Dobi, there isn't another. So, you picked up both of our presences before I struck once. Yeah, you're the Shadow Fox alright. I have no wish to fight you, but Sharingan Kakashi. You're a good match first, Zabuza said. Naruto paused before a different voice continued, hate to break it to you, but... From behind him, he said, neither of them are your opponent. Zabuza was flung in the direction of the water. Gonta had shown up. He threw a sheathed sword at him and said, yo, Shadow Fox. Leave the other one alone. Kitsuki has her under wraps. Naruto caught the sword and answered, noted. You don't have much experience with it yet, so don't bother using it here. Well, this sucks. Gonta said, Zabuza Momochi. Surrender or die, your choice. Zabuza charged with Kabikari Hocho poised to sever his head, declaring, I choose to fight. Another blade stopped it dead in its tracks. Gonta pushed him away after saying, well, you didn't choose surrender, so you're going to die here and now. Without the handle or hilt, the blade in his hands measured 3 feet 3 inches in length. It featured hooks along the edges of the blade and a serrated edge. Although it was sea green, it almost begged to die. Fox, use bloodbath for this one. I've got outsider. You got it. Fox, exclaimed Naruto. Devil, exclaimed Gonta. They both ended up shouting, combo slash. After they were done, neither of them could be seen again, but Gonta suddenly materialized in front of Zabuza and stabbed him in the chest. After cutting off the left leg at the knee and making an appearance to the right and behind Zabuza, Naruto vanished. Gonta kicked Zabuza into the air, and they did not forget that he was on the water at that moment. While Gonta charged from below and cut off the right arm, passing through cleanly, and then twisting Outsider into a reverse grip while glancing lightly at the blade on his torso on his next pass, Naruto appeared above him and severed the other leg. That was not how it happened. The hooks began to move like a chainsaw as soon as Gonta was within 2 feet of Zabuza's body. At that point, he started at the cerebral cortex and hit the entire length of the spine. Then, hovering over Zabuza, Naruto quickly severed his head. Gonta yelled and grabbed the head. Body burner. Right. He exhaled deeply before releasing a dragon-shaped flame. Sasuke was enraged that there were no hand signs. The dragon broke into multiple pieces, which it immediately set on fire. His head, headband, and sword were left behind. Gonta sealed the head in a scroll after declaring, I love headhunting. With Zabuza's blood all over them, Naruto and Gonta returned to the team. Sakura let out a scream, but Naruto ignored it. Luckily, Naruto heard this one. What the hell are you doing, looking like that? We're ninja. It's an occupational hazard. You either kill or you get killed. Especially when you're up against a rogue. If you don't like it, then quit. Naruto said. But remember one thing. If you quit, that means you are nothing. Not even a coward. Sakura appeared pale. Sasuke said, HMPH. Dobi's right for once. Out of all of us, she's the weakest. She can't call herself a ninja. Kill or be killed is the main occupational hazard for a ninja. She has not experienced a life or death situation, in which her life hangs in the balance. I have, and so has Sasuke. Naruto said, before turning to Tazuna. Let's go. Gonta questioned, aren't you forgetting something? Nope. 4 shadow clones have the other one tied up, a 5th dispelled, and she's in the Kitsune realm, replied Naruto. Well done. Best if you didn't know what she was posing as, though, your rash would return. Gonta said, noted. Let's go, said Kakashi. I didn't even have to show my eye. Naruto gave him a sly glance, even if it wasn't yours in the first place? How did you? Gonta said, I taught him. Few know of that event, though. They say knowledge is power. In a way, it's true. Power is incomplete. Little known fact. Strength beats out power, any day. He caught Sasuke's attention. What's the difference? Gonta said, power is straight brawn or straight brains. Strength is the balance between the two. When you balance out your mind, body, and soul, you have strength. Power is good. Strength is great. A rogue doesn't stay alive on power alone. They unconsciously draw on strength to survive, or they die. Plain and simple. Kakashi questioned, what about the other one? Not a rogue. She was an orphan that never participated in an academy. Naruto said, if you want to look for her past, just look at Sasuke. The only difference is because of her bloodline. Her father did it. She killed him before he could kill her. Kiri bloodline purges suckass, that's all I really need to say. She has repeatedly asked for her own death, simply because she failed Zabuza. Sasuke questioned, who would do that for a monster like him? Because of Naruto's strength, he was now intrigued. If someone even showed the slightest bit of interest in you, took care of you, and even helped you when you were on their last legs, you had no formal shinobi training, no clan training, and it was coming up on the coldest winter on record, what would you do? Think about that for a moment. Naruto said. Oh. And add in the fact that she noticed his eyes showed the same loneliness hers did. Can't forget that. Sasuke didn't say anything. Sakura didn't say anything. It was better, she reasoned, if she didn't. She willingly became his tool. Saved his life countless times. All because of a debt she felt she had to repay. Now that she failed him, she thinks she is nothing more than a broken tool. What do you do to a tool that has no use? That's what's going on in her head, Naruto said. Gonta nodded and said, and that's what the Kitsune are trying to convince her not to do, right? I'll have to go help myself, sooner or later. You remember my old therapy jutsu, correct? Gonta grinned in response. Good idea. Sasuke should go as well. The two of you could relate to her. Although, the Kitsune would not like his presence. Not after what Madara did. You know they tend to hold grudges. Have to change their minds somehow. He's going to be working with me. I have no say in that until one or both of us become Chunin, said Naruto. The only reason they hate all Uchiha is because of the whole clan pride, and Madara's actions against Kurama. They still have no idea that their Sharingan was cursed. Sasuke froze in his tracks. Naruto turned to face him and said, you would think I was lying if I told you later, or before I revealed part of my skills. Naruto's eyes widened before he turned to face Gonta. The Sharingan was cursed, and the Mangekyo Sharingan causes blindness when it's used. From history, the only way to truly cure it is. Itachi has the Mangekyo Sharingan, doesn't he? Before his eyes widened, Gonta said, last I checked, yeah. That's why he left Sasuke alive. Gonta and Naruto looked at Sasuke. In order to achieve eternal Mangekyo, as per the way Madara got his, is to take the Mangekyo of a blood relative. The closer, the better. How closer can you get than a brother with the same parents? You activate the Mangekyo, you and him face off. Winner gets the eyes of the loser, and achieves the eternal Mangekyo. Sasuke's gaze expanded. How'd I activate my Sharingan? Surely you know that. Naruto gave a headshake. I know several ways regarding how. Which one will apply to you? I have no idea. One of the easiest ones in the current situation is facing an opponent with speed far beyond your own. Sasuke asked, his temper starting to flare. How is that easy? Because I hardly opened up during the fight with Zabuza. Tell me, could you keep up with my speed? Said Naruto. Sasuke stopped talking. You see my point? I'm a lot faster than you are, and my eyes can adjust to changes in speed quickly. What's more is, before my eyes adjust, I'm listening to the wind around me for locations. Something I can do with ease. We'll work on that tomorrow. Sasuke gave a nod. Just know that I won't be showing you any jutsu that I know. The main reason being, I don't know the hand sign chains for them. This surprised Sasuke. I learned them without using the hand signs. It's straight manipulation for me. It would make a Gukakyu like a high B rank in difficulty. Kakashi gave that a nod. Then, when they arrived at Tazuna's house, Naruto sighed. Naruto merely said he went to cash in on Gonta's disappearance during the trip. In other places a group of people were meeting in a cave. Of them, one said, something strange has happened to the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Another patiently asked, what are you talking about? The first said, it would appear as if he can use Kaiden Jutsu without hand seals. A third person said, this is not good. The first said, there is more. He is currently traveling with the one known as the White Devil. He will be troublesome if he gets involved. No one knows just who, or what, the man is. Would it appear as though he does? Yes, and it would seem as though they are closer than they act. Keep an eye on them, but do not engage. If the White Devil becomes a problem, deal with him. If not, leave him alone. He said, understood. In a phase. The apparent leader said, the rest of you, continue with your current objectives. Everyone but the leader vanished. He phased out himself after saying, with these idiots, things always get worse. Naruto was enjoying his day to a certain extent. On a tree branch, he awoke. He remembered last night. Rewind Team 7 entered Tazuna's home. Tsunami, I'm back, and I brought some really powerful ninja with me. A woman named Tsunami emerged from the kitchen and said, Father, welcome home. Wow, who's the blondie? Professionally, Naruto said, Naruto Uzumaki, and you must be Tsunami, am I correct? A bit uptight, aren't you? Naruto gave a shrug. I just took on an A-rank rogue. I'm a little tense because of the action. Give me an hour, I'll be fine. Are you sure? Maybe I could help. Really? I'll be fine. It's not much, and I've been a lot closer to death than this. Acknowledged Naruto. Don't ask for details, because I don't like going into them. Why not? Inquired Tsunami. A young child questioned, who are these people? Naruto gave him a look. If I described the less graphic ones, the boy would have nightmares for at least 2 months. Rough estimate, at least. He returned his gaze to Tsunami. He gave Sakura the thumbs up, saying, Pinky would have them for maybe 4 months. And that's if she believed me. His thumb went to Sasuke and he said, Emo would call me a liar, plain and simple. And Obito remastered, he said, giving Kakashi a thumbs up. Would take pity on me. I don't want pity, it doesn't help matters any. Oh come on. You couldn't have had it that bad. In order to whisper in her ear, Naruto gestured for her to approach. He withdrew to reveal her astonished expression. In all honesty, that was probably sugarcoating it. I was actually dead for 7 minutes, not once, but 3 times. And that's all by the time I had turned 7 years old. She gave him a hug. How could you even be sane? She asked in a remorseful, comforting, and somewhat melancholy tone. I have my reasons. Those reasons are not exactly what most would think, though. I played the happy, go lucky idiot. It helped some. Now, I'm heading out. I really need a tree to sleep in. Why not a bed? Honestly, I prefer trees to beds. They help me more often than not, and I got used to them. He repeated his shrug. I slept in forests a lot. Anything else to add? She gave a headshake. Then Kakashi had an idea. What about that Gonta? I already said he went to cash in. Besides, there are other things I have to take care of regarding the other one we came across. Replied Naruto. Gonta should be back by morning. If not, he went to Haku to try and convince her to live on. Don't ask how he'd do it, though. Not even I know. Naruto left the house on foot. Oh, and if the boy goes about us not knowing any pain, the only one in our team that hasn't is Sakura. She's the only one of us that doesn't know the pain of utter loneliness. He then vanished. No leaves, no smoke. No, nothing. He was in the Kitsune realm, in a clearing. After that, he sought out Haku among the elders. Please, there is nothing left for me in this world. He got her attention by asking, is it because of the fact you failed the only person to ever acknowledge you? You're the one that brought me here. Why? He may have had no use for a useless weapon, but is that truly the extent of your relationship? Asked Naruto. For example, if he told you to kill him, would you? I couldn't. Then you were never truly a tool. An extra hand, sure, but not a tool. If you were, you'd have said yes without hesitating, or even the slightest bit of doubt in your voice. By definition, you are not a tool. You don't have to die just because you feel like you failed. Live on in his memory. That's all there is to it. For what reason should I live? I am useless. Naruto gestured for the others to leave the area and said, that's what you think. He sighed as they did. And people always called me a demon, for something I had no control over. Turns out I was able to be trained by the same demon that they called me. My father condemned me to that hell, didn't listen to my mother, and my life was a living hell. I actually died 3 times, and was sent back after seeing the Shinigami herself. Some things don't change, but there are some that can. Change what you can, see the rest as off limits for thoughts. Why? Inquired Haku. Why are you so interested in me? Haku turned pale as Naruto said, because we are kin. Naruto took a seat and gave Haku a direct look. We may not be related by blood, but you were hated for something you were born with. I was hated for something my father did to me within 3 hours of my own birth. He wasn't around to stop them from attacking me. My heritage was a closely guarded secret, after all. We both have a gift that we did not ask for. I make the most of my gift. Do you do the same? Haku gave a headshake. Then you should live on. Make it so you can accept who you are. Every part of you. Bloodlines are good every now and then, but they tend to make people arrogant. Zabuza gave you the skills to survive. Use them, and live on. But why? Naruto let out a sigh. Think on everything I've said. My teammate is a dunce, but he is strong. He has no family left, as his own brother killed them all, and spared him out of pity, and probably a slight twinge of hope, but that's wishful thinking. At that, Haku's eyes grew wide. He doesn't like fangirls, and he defines them as weak female stalkers. He's got the right idea on that, and you don't qualify. Think about it, and let me know tomorrow. Kai, flashback no jutsu. With a sigh, Naruto descended from the tree and approached Haku. His presence roused her. What did you figure out? Unsure of herself, she said, Can I come with you? I feel like I can trust you. Immediately in front of her, Naruto gave her a hug. Haku's perspective, who is he? This sensation. It's not dangerous. It inspires me to. No, I must avoid becoming attached. Still, though, all of my thoughts were jumbled. What ought I to do? I'm not the type to do this. Hold on. It is identical to when My eyes grew wide as I recalled the sensation. Mom. That's what it is. You're attempting to reassure me. With a gentle and reassuring tone, Naruto questioned, you're not sure, are you? I should just give it back. I gave the hug back, albeit slowly. Typical point of view. Haku's arms encircled Naruto in a gentle embrace. All right, she's giving it back. She's finally stepping out of her shell. Naruto remarked, you don't seem too into the idea. I can't say I am. With some perplexity in his tone, Naruto questioned, then why agree? With a hoarse voice, Haku confessed, I don't know. It's just, something keeps telling me that you're on my side. I don't know what's going on, but why am I admitting all this? In order to gaze into her eyes, Naruto slightly withdrew. I tend to have that effect on people. When I'm angry, people back off. When I'm trying to comfort someone that has had a hard life, they feel protected. That's my experience, anyway. After nodding and cradling him in his chest, Haku dozed off. She appears to be an angel. He then saw that she had begun to cry while she was asleep, and he wondered what the Teme would think. And some of them weep themselves to sleep. She's sobbing while she sleeps. Strange. Not any weirder than our situation. You fell asleep in my fur from time to time. Point taken. Naruto used that opportunity to take off all of her restraints. All I can hope for is that she's mentally well. She will recover emotionally, but it will take time. Good to know. Remember, she has to come to terms with herself. Until she does that, she can't heal. I understand. Naruto glanced around and noticed a small fox nearby. Kituno, come here for a second. Yes, Naruto? Said the fox. I need someone to watch over Haku. I still have a mission back in Wave Country, said Naruto. Same as before. Just make sure she's safe. If Kituno asks, she's at least somewhat good. She needs support right now. If she wants to know of my past, then tell her the simplified version. I know she may not be completely okay, but she needs help to get over the one person that has cared about her before all this. Show some support, because she needs more than I do right now. Good to know. No worries. I'll help out. Oh, they found Gato's hideout. Good. Now I can kill that bastard for doing what he did to my mother's home island after Uzushiogakure was destroyed. And also, he glanced at Haku. I'm gonna kill the bastard for her sake. Kituno nodded after giving him a look. From where you came in, you'd need to go 22 miles north by northwest at 11 degrees by 7 minutes. To which Naruto answered, got it, you got that experimental explosive. The fox then unveiled a pile of tiny tags and said, thought you might ask, stack of 50. Taking them, Naruto said, thanks. This is righteous justice. The justice of the kitsune, and of those scorned. Naruto began to fade out as Kituno nodded. Before he could get a response, he left. If she asks where I went, tell her Gato will be dead before I return. Wave Country. Naruto showed up exactly where he had left off. Sakura was waiting for him right there. There you are. Kakashi-sensei's been waiting for you. Before gaining a bearing by glancing at the sky, Naruto said, tell him he's got to wait some more. And he should teach you guys control. He should know what that means. I've got business to take care of here. He then leapt off. Hey. Gonta, Sasuke, and Kakashi emerge. Sasuke was furious and said, Sakura, why are you so goddamn loud? She answered, he came back, then just up and left. Gonta glanced in his direction without saying anything. At that moment, a fish approached the dock, which he saw right away. What's up? Word from the kitsune. Naruto is after Gato. Gonta turned to the others and said, okay. That's good and bad. I have to go after him. Stop him. For now, at least. Angry, Sasuke said, you know what he's going to do. Gonta leapt off and disappeared in an odd white light, saying, his target is Gato. I was already making plans for it, too. Forest. Gonta stopped Naruto on a branch. Trying to stop me? No, was Gonta's response. I was already planning on hitting him myself, to be honest. However, we should wait for tonight to do whatever it is you're planning. Have a few hundred shadow clones go through overtake format with the Tsuba, and watch over it carefully. We'll take care of them tonight. Naruto gave him a look. Forgo the training for now. I'll go and find out the watch times. I'll get personnel numbers, and intercept all outbound messages. Replied Gonta. Both of them nodded, and Naruto changed into a one-tailed black fox. Shadow Fox is in. Gonta fadingly said, get moving. In other parts of the forest. In a clearing were Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi. Sasuke questioned, why are we here? Sakura. Naruto said you two needed to train control, yes? She replied. Well, that's what we're going to do here. Then why isn't he here? He's got other matters to attend to, and he's already much more efficient in control than most his age, replied Kakashi. To their surprise, they both said, in fact, he's got more control than most Junin. How was he able to exert so much control? Sakura pondered. Conversely, Sasuke expressed his opinions. It's because his jutsu are done without hand signs, isn't it? Kakashi smiled and said, correct. I don't think I need to go into a lecture, so I'll get down to it. Climb a tree, he said, with no hands. Sakura shot back, that's impossible. Sakura and Sasuke were taken aback when Kakashi responded, and pulling off an A-rank fire jutsu without hand signs as a genin isn't. Kakashi followed suit, walking up the tree before standing upside down on a branch. I got the drop that Naruto knows, and can use, DS rank fire jutsu without hand signs. It is straight manipulation, and that's even harder to do than this. Just channel your chakra to the soles of your feet. Like this. He took out 2 kunai and tossed them to their feet, saying, I think you get the picture. Use that to mark your progress. I'll be watching. Naruto came into the clearing after they had been doing this for a few hours. How nice of you to join us, Naruto. Naruto answered, I'm not really here. Tsunami says it's nearing lunchtime. Naruto. Start climbing. You need to. Naruto answered, finished and mastered. Sakura. Besides, I'm only a shadow clone. Kakashi questioned, just how far are you truly on control? With a sigh, Naruto extended his hand palm up. In a matter of seconds, he formed a tiny sphere in it. When Kakashi nodded and said, this answer your question, it vanished. He leapt off, saying, then I'm out of here. To Zuna's location, despite the presence of 6 shadow clones, everyone was present except for Gonta and Naruto. Tsunami said to the clone who assisted with cooking, thank you, Clone.san. Naruto said, no problem, Tsunami. Boss did say he's not coming back for lunch, though. Why not? Inquired Kakashi, and what about Gonta? The clone answered, they're preparing to eliminate the greatest danger to Tezuna's life. Kakashi's eye appeared to widen. You mean? They're doing so tonight. They're both getting the information on the building, personnel, where everything is, and getting ready for an all-out massacre of his underlings. Naruto interrupted him. I suggest you don't interfere. And Inari, remember our little talk. I know. Just get rid of him, please. Naruto smiled and said, remember, there are heroes, some just aren't as open as they'd like to be. After everyone had eaten, Sakura and Sasuke returned to the clearing to continue working on the exercise. That evening, both Gonta and Naruto were wearing their old cloaks. Fox, remember the plan. Silent kill, big boom. You get the kill. I'll set the charges, raid the armory, and get the deeds and weaponry, replied Naruto. They dwindled after saying, good idea, with Shadow Fox. After arriving at the armory, Naruto sealed everything inside a massive scroll that he carried on his person. When he was finished, he proceeded to the nearby deeds. He then received a signal indicating that 5 of his new tags were set and operational across all levels. He went to Gonta in the tree after leaving. With the White Devil he went straight into Gato's room. List of flaws. To start, his security is terrible. For 2 reasons, he is too at ease when he has not heard from Zabuza. And 3. He's dead. Gonta severed Gato's head with bloodbath. I'm going to have fun stuffing this head, he said as he headed to the rendezvous point. The rendezvous point Gonta was on a branch with Naruto. Ready? Said Gonta. Naruto just produced a single tag. Ready when you are. He said, art is a bang. Gonta answered. Naruto pierced the tag with his chakra. Tezuna's location since Naruto destroyed all of the shadow clones. Sasuke was on guard, watching for any unusual activity. Why was it necessary for the Dobi to get rid of them? He's going to kill us, I promise. He soon caught sight of a giant explosion. What was that? Then Gonta and Naruto emerged from the pier. According to Naruto, that was fun. Gonta answered, yeah. Now I have a little plan for the head we got. Leave it as a surprise. Tell the villagers to go to the place where a hero once died, replied Gonta. Then Sasuke crashed in front of them. What head and what was that explosion? With Gonta already gone, Naruto retorted, in order, Gato's head, and that was Gato's place being blown sky high. Startled, Sasuke questioned, you took his head? Nah, Gonta did. I came up with the exploding tags, and sealed everything that would be needed for rebuilding, and his weaponry. I'm not happy with one of the things I found there, though, Naruto said with a cold voice. Suddenly, Kakashi was directly in front of them. What just happened? Naruto answered, I blew up Gato's hideout. Gonta took his head and has a plan for it. You know what he's planning. I'd stay surprised with it, but I know for a fact he plans on letting them know about this. The following day at the scene of Kaisa's death, everyone had assembled. Right there, Naruto whistled. To think he was going for this. Gato had his stuffed head on a pike. It was accompanied by a plaque. Tyranny, take caution. There is a new hero in town. Thanks to the devil in white, the Fox of Shadow. Everyone cheered when they saw this. Naruto smiled and noticed a hopeful looking orphan. Hey, what's your name? Ko. Do you know who those two are? In response, Naruto said, no one knows for sure. All that anyone knows is that they are highly powerful, and can do a lot more than most think. It's obvious they did this, and they're probably already long gone now. With a slight smile on his face, the orphan gazed at him. Then Naruto had a thought. Are there any other orphans near here? Maybe I could help lift their spirits up. This way. They hurried away, but Naruto only had to take a quick stroll. They approached a tiny, dilapidated structure. This is it? Yeah. The boy's voice was dejected. Naruto attracted the boy's attention by saying, well, it's better than some orphans. He remarked softly, I didn't even have a roof over my head when I was 5. Come on, let's go inside, and so they did, with Gonta laughing close by. Since then, Naruto's team has not seen him, and Gonta has kept quiet about his activities. 1 week later, Sakura, Kakashi, and Sasuke were starting to grow irritated. They had not seen Naruto's hide or tail. Gonta showed no signs of concern. Kakashi questioned, why aren't you worried for him? Gonta responded, leaning against a pillar on the completed bridge, for one, he can take care of himself. The other, he's been with the orphans the entire time. Probably keeping them company, or teaching them things he wishes he was taught when he was younger. Then, in front of them, Naruto and Haku touched down. Sorry I'm late. Helped a few others on the road of life, and they didn't want me to go. Haku said, I can vouch for that. They took a good hour to finally let him go, and then another 10 minutes saying goodbye. Who are you? Asked Sakura. Sakura, if you so much as threaten her, you will not only have me on your ass, you'd be getting the wrath of the entire Kitsune clan, which would amount to worse than the Kyuubi attack all those years ago, Naruto said with a stern tone. Haku said, that's not really needed, you know? Sakura flinched when he said, after all, I can put her in a coma for a week. Naruto remarked, I like the idea of the Kitsune clan going ape. As they both imagined it, a thought bubble appeared. They both exchanged glances. The simultaneous reaction to the thought was, Kitsune. Alright. Let's go. Naruto nodded as Gonta glanced at him. Haku, Naruto and myself are going a different way. We've got other things to take care of. Well, you better make it to the village within 2 days. After saying, no worries. Gonta briefly glowed before vanishing. With a sigh, Naruto transformed into a 3-tailed, wolf-sized black fox. Haku, hop on. Haku said, blushing, so, that means I get to ride you? Save the perverted thoughts for later. I don't think it's a good idea to go for that route just yet. It's definitely an option for later though. Replied Naruto. Sakura was on the verge of hitting Sasuke. Kakashi had a minor nosebleed, and Sasuke was unconscious. After that, Haku mounted and fled through the trees, avoiding the branches. They were perplexed by this until he left. Let's get going. It should take 2 days to get back. Abandoned cave. Haku, Gonta, and Naruto were examining a collection of summoning scrolls. Naruto inquired, how many of these did you get? With a start. But Gonta said, 13, to be exact. Among them is that of the snow foxes, which I believe Haku should sign with. Haku asked, snow foxes, and got a nod, what about me? I'm afraid there isn't a Kitsune contract, so take a look at them. Find one you like. Gonta said. Naruto examined each one to determine what it was. Dragons. Overkill, but badass. Monkeys that lava. When I get older, I don't want to be referred to as an old monkey. Eon. Hey, Gonta. What's this one for? Gonta looked it over. The Eon contract, strange choice. Naruto inquired, what is an Eon? Gonta regarded it thoughtfully. An Eon is basically a higher being. It's not an angel, a demon, or a god. It's just a neutral party. Main problem is, no one knows what they're truly capable of. as no ninja could truly summon from that contract before. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the first. After giving a nod, Naruto signed his name in blood. For a while, it glowed, and then it went out. A flash of light appeared nearby at that precise moment. A.N. No, this character is not mine, and she will not reappear after this. As the light dimmed, a young woman emerged before them. On the side of her head, her brown hair was pulled back in a ponytail. A.N. The exact outfit is that of Yuna from Final Fantasy X-2. Hello there, young one. She said. My name is Yuna, from Spyra. Naruto was polite enough to blush at her attire. Yuna. I remember hearing your name somewhere. Gonta thought about it. Then he had a thought. Wait, you said you were from Spyra, correct? Yuna said, you know of it? Gonta gestured and walked over to a shelf that contained a number of dusty swords. He selected one and presented it to Yuna. Does this look familiar? Yuna's gaze expanded. Staring at him, she exclaimed, That's Brotherhood. How did you get your hands on that? Gonta answered, so I was right. Lady Yuna, the last High Summoner of Spyra, and the one to destroy Sin, by defeating Yu Yevon. Gonta prostrated herself. You are someone to respect for bringing near eternal peace to your land. That caused Yuna to flush. Thanks. With interest in his voice, Naruto inquired, anything you know about those Aeons? What do you mean? The Aeons are. Wait, that's right. When someone was accepted by their spirits, then I was tasked to reveal myself to the chosen summoner. Yuna replied to Naruto. You were accepted by the Aeons, themselves. However, unlike most summons of this world, you can only summon one Aeon at a time. And even then there are other things to take note of. Like what? Well, for starters, Aeons don't work like ninja do. They only show themselves to those they deem worthy, even if you already signed the contract. Naruto, right? He grinned. Anyway, Valifor is the only one you can summon right now. I'll admit I'm not quite familiar with your ninja techniques, but... Haku listed 5 hand signs and explained, the summoning jutsu is done by doing these hand signs. Normally, you'd need a little blood to complete it. No blood is needed. You should bond with each Aeon once you can summon them, and you must get the first 5 in order. What I needed for the final summoning is not a part of this contract. Gonta said, that makes things a lot easier. The final summoning usually kills you, doesn't it? Yuna said, that's what it's supposed to do, yes, and that's why he wasn't included. Oh, and Valifor is a she. Naruto gave a nod. Knowing they would require the space, they all went outside and said, okay, then let's try it. Yuna watched as Naruto made his first attempt. He slammed his hand on the floor and exclaimed, summoning jutsu. A bright glyph materialized, launching 4 balls into the air. Valifor emerged through the door she usually used. Lady Yuna, what are you doing here? Yuna questioned, been a while, hasn't it? Well, the short version is the Aeons were sent to the far plane, when Sin was finally destroyed. Apparently, they were revived, and allowed to come back as a summoning for ninja. However, after someone was signed, I came along. Probably a favor of some sort. I see. And I am the first one for the new summoner? Yuna stated, that's what it seems like. She then turned to face Naruto. Treat the Aeons with respect, and they will return it. If you do not, they will not. Naruto gave a nod. Oh, and did someone teach you manners? If I remember correctly, Ixion was both impatient, and hated those who were rude. Naruto looked sheepish for a moment. Not really, orphan since birth. Haku said, I'd help him with that. I still owe him, after all. For how long? Inquired Yuna. Almost a week. And he hasn't taken a favor from you. Naruto said, I don't see the need to. I mean, as long as she lives, that's good enough for me. Haku glanced at Yuna, who became aware of the situation. I see. You want to do more for him, but he doesn't want anything else? Haku nodded as Naruto glanced at him. I don't see the point in doing anything, or forcing you to do anything. You followed me by your own choice. I don't intend on becoming another Zabuza. You need to learn how to live on your own, and not rely on others to keep you going. Why? She inquired. Why don't you do whatever you want to with me? Naruto was somewhat taken aback. Then he considered it. I just don't see the point in harming you mentally or emotionally, and if I did something physically, I wouldn't forgive myself if something happened. Yuna said, you sound like you care for her more than you let on. Naruto let out a sigh. That's why I'm letting her make her own choices. I'm not going to force her to do anything. If she does something, it's of her own will, not because I told her to. She's already been hurt badly. I don't want her to hurt more. Haku glanced at him. then at Gonta and Yuna, before turning back to Naruto. Then, would you mind if I ask you something? Naruto said, letting out a little laugh. You just did, but why not? I mean, really, you don't need to ask. He became aware that she thought it was a little embarrassing when she approached his ear. He blushed as well as she did when she withdrew. I don't think that's a good idea, just yet. One day, maybe. Right now, I don't really think it's a good idea. With sadness, Haku said, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have. She was shocked when Naruto said, I'm glad you asked about that, though. In fact, if there weren't people after me or Kurama right now, then I would have been happy to do so. It's just the timing. Haku began, but was interrupted when her lips met his. He looked her in the eye as Naruto and Haku parted ways. Without blinking or taking his eyes off hers, he told her, for the time being, I think we should limit our interactions to the kisses and below. Nothing after that for a while. She didn't say anything in response. He eagerly gave it back after she took another one. Yuna, Valifor, and Gonta stood on the sidelines, watching them. Gonta offered Yuna a box of popcorn that he somehow had. Popcorn? Yuna answered, no thank you. I'm fine. Gonta threw some pieces up to her beak and said, I could use some. She quickly swallowed them. Butter, a hint of caramel, extra salt? Gonta answered, normal salt levels, but other than that, yeah. Tastes like a little extra salt, if you ask me. Noted. Before Yuna spoke again, the three watched them make out for a good few minutes. Panting, they separated, asking, how long can he keep going? As he clicked a stopwatch, Gonta stated, that was 6 minutes, 32.2 seconds. I think breathing fire does that to you, you know? Yuna said, point taken. Gonta said, we'll rest up here, you two. Then we'll head to the village gates. The two, who were flushed profusely, gave him a startled look. By the way, Naruto. Where is your Tsuba? Naruto asked, removing the Tsuba from his left hand, you mean Kadaj? I do the same thing as you do with Bloodbath. Haku said, nice choice in sheaths. Her heart melted when Naruto grinned at her and said, thanks. You know, I figure he's a big heartbreaker. If he wasn't hated by his entire village save a select few, then he would be. Acknowledged Gonta. And if his father was known to the public, it would be even more. To which Yuna replied, I see, and who, pray tell, is his father? None other than the Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze. You're kidding me? Nope, who is this Minato? The only leader that never succumbed to the temptation of power. He could wield the final summoning, and not go insane with the power he wields. Sounds like he's pure of heart, you have no idea. Gonta said, I wouldn't go that far. He went out noble, banking on his village for his son. His last wish was ignored, his son scorned, and then more than that. Something else was going to happen, and he cursed himself out for not following his wife's advice. After entering, Naruto and Haku cuddled up in the bed. After Valifor and Yuna departed, Gonta laughed and dozed off like a squirrel in a tree. The following day, Konohagakure main gate Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi were on their way to the gate. As they got closer, Gonta, Naruto, and Haku emerged from the trees. Naruto looked at them and remarked, about time you guys got here. We've been waiting for hours. How did you get here so quickly? Naruto said to Gonta, you think I should tell him of the race from Suna to Kiri? You mean the one we finished within 2 hours? That one? That's got to be a record or something, right? Gonta acknowledged, only aerial travel or Hiraishin could accomplish that. Naruto went on, and then there's the beast forms. True. When they checked in, they discovered that Gonta and Haku were present. Well, since you're here, I really need to give a report. Who are you? Friends of Naruto, here. I've been coming every now and then over the past few years to help him out. Gonta Kidante, Gonta said. Haku Kori. Well, I owe him for his graces during his mission. I've come to repay them as needed, and I have no one else to turn to. Family, Haku said sadly, dead. The guard said, I'm sorry. Try to enjoy your stay, Haku-san. Haku gave a nod. To the surprise of everyone but Gonta, Naruto lifted her up bridal style and leapt off. I have to go turn in the report. I'm coming with you, after I get Naru. Wait, never mind. He's already in front of the Hokage. Gonta then vanished. She turned to Kakashi and said, take the rest of the day off. And Sakura? He drove off in a shunshin, saying, take your job seriously. If not, you'll die, or worse. Sakura eventually realized that Sasuke had left, but she continued walking to her own house. Hokage's workspace in front of the elderly man who identified himself as the Hokage stood Naruto and Haku. Welcome back, Naruto. I trust your mission went well. Gigi, there were a bit too many problems, it turned into an A rank. The Hokage was shocked to learn, wait, it escalated to A rank? By this? Yeah. Insufficient funds. We kept at it, took out 3 missing nins, one of which, well, Haku here was following him because he saved her. Now, she's following me, and I'm glad for it. Sarutobi gave the girl a look. Haku? Uncertain of her purpose for being here, she answered, that's right. Then she recalled that Naruto was present, and she desired to be near him. I wanted to. Naruto placed his hand on her shoulder and said, don't even go there, Haku. We've already been through this. You don't need someone in your life to live. He then turned to the elderly gentleman. Gigi, I would suggest you don't go digging into her past. Not until she comes to terms with it. If you want a reference, look at Sasuke, in regards to the situation, and me in terms of pain. If that's not enough, then you should forget any questioning until she can come to terms with it. The Hokage gave a nod. I see, Haku, I'm not going to place you under any kind of probation, unless you wish to become a ninja. Naruto answered, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Before I choose, could you let me stay here for a while? If only to gather my thoughts? Sarutobi grinned at her and said, of course. She could see that it was an understanding one. I just have to find out where to put you when it comes to living. Naruto attracted his attention by saying, she'll be staying with me, Gigi. Sasuke's too much of a bastard to treat her right, Kakashi. Sensei is a porn addict, and Sakura would think she's taking advantage of her. She doesn't know anyone else in the village, to my knowledge. Haku simply gave Naruto a quick peck on the cheek while ignoring the Hokage's presence. He went on, and then there's that. It was then that Gonta and Kakashi entered the room. Kakashi? Why didn't you call for back up when it escalated? Kakashi said, I didn't really have to. Naruto did, and I can't say we could have gotten any better from the village. Sarutobi nodded until he reached the part about the White Devil. Gonta Kidante. Swordsman, long-term trainer of Naruto Uzumaki, and the one you may know as the White Devil. Almost shouting, Sarutobi said, the White Devil? Keep it down. I don't want that fact out, just yet. Regaining his composure, Sarutobi asked, why are you here? I'm here to stick with Naruto. He's been training under me for years now. He ran into trouble, my target was in Wave Country, and I took him down. Stuck with him ever since. Gonta sighed. Really, I'm just here for a while, but also to get a long-term house, should I really need some rest. Staying with Naruto would be a bonus, if you ask me. Why him? He actually met all of my training requirements. I've been watching his team as well, none of the others qualify. Sakura would if she got her head out of the clouds and started training her body. Sasuke. He'd need a combination of mind control, body control, and a soul purifier for him to qualify. He's too rooted in his own ideals to change his ways. If he's a flight risk, odds are highly likely that risk will never go away. Not until it actually happens. There are a plethora of reasons why he doesn't qualify, and only one that would get him in. Determination to fulfill his goal. But even that's too high, for he would likely sacrifice his teammates to do so if the situation called for it. These are my own observations, and though I haven't seen him fight, I don't base my training on skills, reputation, or names. None of those matter in my choosing. So my parents had nothing to do with you choosing me? Replied Naruto. Correct. Your parents don't mean jack shit to me. They may have been dangerous and extremely powerful, but they are them, and you are you. I make my own decisions when it comes to training, and the only one I've come across at all that qualifies is you, Naruto. You, who could take all the pain in the world, and still wear a smile. You, who has the highest potential, yet no one sees it, and everyone would stop you from reaching it due to their own fears. Someone like you could befriend a demon if you tried hard enough. Gonta replied. In the end, you were the deciding factor. Not your parents. Not Kurama. Not even your few bonds. It is you, and you alone, that caused my decision. Sarutobi gave that a nod. I see. If that's the kind of person you would train, then I'm afraid that no one else in this entire village would fall under that category. Naruto began, wait a minute. He received a nod when he asked, you found all that out when we first met, how? Gonta arched an eyebrow and said, did you forget how good I am at reading people? Or that I saw through the mask? Besides, you were out of it for a few hours when you were in my camp back then. Point. The council won't like the fact that you trained him at all. Gonta responded, To that, I say this, they can go and fuck themselves. If they try and hurt him, they're trying to hurt me. I don't take kindly to that. Naruto and Kakashi were surprised when Haku said, I second that. He's the only one here that would understand me, to my knowledge, not take advantage of me, and yet still take care of me. According to Naruto, the run-in with Yuna proved that. I know you've suffered a lot, and I don't claim to know the pain of loss, but I do know the pain of loneliness. The feeling of wanting to be accepted. That painful, yet powerful feeling. It doesn't matter who you are. I still wouldn't try to take advantage of you. Male, female, young, old, none of that matters. You and I have shared a similar pain. That alone would make me want to help you, not take advantage of you. With a slight flush on her cheeks, Haku answered, and that's why I like you. Well, you might get some competition. The Hyuga clan heiress has a thing for me, but she's too shy, and hasn't made a move. I literally played the fool, and acted all dense. I knew the fact she couldn't keep herself from fainting when I get close enough to even touch her at all, inappropriately or not, meant that she had a massive crush on me, and probably a few perverted thoughts. The latter is just speculation, though, said Naruto. Well, if she doesn't make a move soon, then she won't be able to, Haku said. Sarutobi gave a nod. Normally, if I can't find Naruto, I look for her. Usually, she's looking at him. I'd say one thing on that. Stalker, borderline fangirl. My only one that I know of. Naruto intervened. Haku, if you come across her. At that moment, Kurenai and her team emerged through the open door. Hinata was one of them. Naruto said, speak of the devil, and he will come. The statement caught Haku's attention right away. She quickly located Hinata Hyuga. Haku questioned, you are Hinata Hyuga? She gave a nod. Naruto-kun. I think I can figure out a few things for you. Look for Ichiraku's ramen stand. I'm heading there once everything is settled. Sarutobi pulled out a scroll and said, actually, Naruto. I'm going to give you your inheritance now. He tossed a piece of paper at him, which he caught with ease, saying, read that at this address. This is the scroll my father wanted you to give me? How did you? Naruto remarked, well, that figures. Gonta, why don't you head to the house? You kidding? I've heard you talk about Ichiraku's too much not to go there, Gonta replied. Naruto questioned, fellow Ramenite? Many eyebrows were raised in response to this. Unfortunately, no, and I don't plan on converting, but that doesn't mean I'll disgrace ramen. It's good in moderation, sure. But in my eyes, it's not good enough for worship. I don't fall under ramenism, and probably never will. Kurenai blinked as she glanced at him, and here I thought Naruto made that up. Nah, it's somewhat common from where I'm from. For a ramenite, it's like 80 proof for an alcoholic, without the hangover. Gonta replied. Naruto acknowledged, damn. I've got a ways to go for that. Then he saw that Hinata and Haku were no longer there. Where did the girls go? The clearing of forests. In the clearing stood Haku and Hinata. Hinata was obviously distressed. What do you want from me? Haku questioned bluntly, why are you so shy around Naruto? Hinata reddened. Why do you want to know? Because if you don't improve on your self-confidence, you will lose him. He knows you like him, and has been playing the dense fool. No surprise really. Haku then cocked her head. He's fooled the whole village, after all. You mean when he could use those fire jutsu without hand signs? Or even the wind jutsu? Replied Hinata. Haku took a second look. You knew? Of course. I'm the only one of his fan club that actually followed him around. Haku inquired. He had a fan club. Hinata nodded while muttering a curse to herself. How many members are there? Hinata simply gazed at her. There were 9, but they've gone down to 3, now. The president of the Uchiha fan club is actually a member. Haku shot back, she couldn't be in both. She's the reason we know that Sasuke is a stuck-up. She's been acting as a spy for us in that group. Being the president was a good thing for us. She had all the information, and no one questioned her. The Haruno? Ino Yamanaka. She's a genin now, along with Sakura and myself. Out of both fan clubs, only us 3 are actually kunoichi. The Uchiha fan club has disbanded, since they didn't have many members left. Naruto's hasn't. Well, maybe if you give me a few names, I can find out more for him than I thought. Hinata informed her, you'd find out really quickly if you became a member. I'm still new in town, I'll admit, but I know Naruto better than most would think. Quick question. How powerful would you rate Naruto, with all his hidden skills? I'd say bordering Junin, but his stamina, that would place it mid. Junin, maybe. Haku questioned, Did you know he's an A rank in the bingo book? Hinata gave him a startled look. He's already proved it, but no one but a select few know which one he is. Myself being one of them. When was this? Hinata inquired, utterly taken aback. She was aware of the bingo book, which included a list of prominent people who could be targeted by bounty hunters or assassins. He's been in it for a while. A few years, even. I first found out about him a few years back as a low B rank. Now he's a high A rank. What is in there about him? Before he passed away, Zabuza had one, which Haku took out. This book belonged to a former missing nin. Naruto.kun had gone up against him with one other, and he died. Naruto.kun then saved me, so I felt like I owed him. He has stated several times that he wants nothing from me. Just for me to live. That's all he wanted. I looked through it a few times, and he stated that he was in the A rank section, last time he was able to check. Maybe I could ask Kurenai Sensei about this. He doesn't want it getting out. There is no name for him in it. Just an alias. Why not a name? I mean, I know he hides himself, highly well, I might add, but still. I don't know for sure. Maybe it's because, the way others see him, it's better that way. Haku replied. After a moment of contemplation, Hinata nodded. He's hated by nearly 98% of the civilians in the village, and at least 50% of the shinobi population, though most are the older ones. That's probably why he kept that part a secret. Meaning, I should keep his training a secret like I have been. Hinata admitted, and Haku nodded. He told me that this entry was his name, not sure. Shadow Fox is an alias, ranking A, nearly S. Status. Recruit if you can in aim. Kill on sight in Iwa. If any. Allegiance is unknown. Unknown bloodline. Ability high. Anbu ninjutsu genjutsu, not sure. Cage in taijutsu kenjutsu, not sure, thought to be Anbu. Affinities. Water, wind, fire, and perhaps earth. Defeated A rank Iwa ninja in Optics the Inferno. Allegedly allied with S rank White Devil, true identity unknown. Reason for listing. Defeated 3 crime lords at once. Notes. Shunshin is clearly used to show up in random places in order to cut and catch his opponent flat-footed. Wanted by Kirigakure and Konohagakure only, Iwagakure for 10 billion Ryu, and Kumogakure for 5 million dead or alive. I'll admit that I was a little taken aback when he told me that this was him, Haku said. With her mouth hanging open, Hinata remarked, I knew this village was full of idiots, but this is a whole other level. This will take a bit to swallow. Haku acknowledged, I can understand that. She flipped to a different ninja. This is who this book belonged to. Zabuza Momochi. Hinata was compelled to look. Master of silent killing? Has a Zanbato? He's really strong, she said, glancing at Haku. I assume this is to be kept secret? Haku put the book away and replied, every bit of it, and it's missing a lot of information, according to him. How much? He said it was at least 60%, and I don't think he's bluffing, she acknowledged. Then Naruto emerged into the clearing. He yelled, there you two are. Seeing that the suffix was missing, she turned to face him with a serious expression. Hinata, I think. Haku, what did you show her? She asked. A few things, regarding my opinion on you. Did you know you still have a fan club? Haku responded. Naruto blinked. Since when? He stopped Hinata with a glance as she started to back away. Her face was beet red as she nodded slowly. You know, don't you Hinata? Who's in it? Hinata gave him a startled look. Why? Because I want to know who actually likes me. At the end, she said, Ayame, Ino and M.M.M.Me. Her voice became almost silent, but Naruto heard it. You're in it, too? She asked with a feeble nod, fighting the urge to pass out. With a dear.in. The headlights expression, she said, I guess I really shouldn't be surprised, though. Let me guess. You're the leader of it. You learn something new every day, I guess. Shino Aburame, Kiba Inuzuka, and Kurenai Yuhi showed up nearby. Kurenai, irritated, questioned, why didn't you tell us you found her? If you're talking about Hinata, I wasn't looking for her, I was looking for Haku, to be honest. Hinata sighed. But I found out much more than I really thought I would. Like the fact I have a fan club. Since when? Kiba almost yelled out. Naruto turned back to Hinata and said, I think you should ask Hinata that one. By the way. She looked down in embarrassment and said, fenced-off forest. Please tell me you did not see me training in there. She nodded feebly. You did, didn't you? She asked. Well, This is just great, he exclaimed, in a very angry tone. Now I have to find another secluded area to train those kinds of things. With narrowed eyes, Kurenai questioned, what do you mean by that? Before she eventually passed out, she said, aside from those here, no one knows that I know you've been in there at all. She was caught by Haku. She received a nod when she said, you are Kurenai, correct? Take her home, please. Naruto.kun and I have to talk about something. Unfortunately, those two are not allowed to know, as far as I know. Her gaze expanded. You mean? Naruto questioned, you really want to go into that? I mean, I don't really see the problem, as long as no one else hears it. I just want to know everything I can. As they say, knowledge is power. Haku responded. In return, he shrugged. Kitsune realm? Naruto seized Haku's waist and said, why not? Before they both vanished. No traces, no smoke, no leaves. How did he? Kurenai held Hinata and said, Kiba, quiet. Head back to the Hokage. Let him know that Naruto has a new version of the Shunshin. Behind her, Gonta remarked, not a Shunshin, Kurenai. She turned to him and became alert at once. I should know, being as I taught him the idea behind it. He merely worked it out on his own. Void element. Pure teleportation. That's all it is. Where did you learn about it? He displayed a seal around his neck and said, a few ideas, here and there. It was a random stroke of genius. I have them, from time to time. One such idea is this. Sound blocker seal. Youth is a code word for this one. Why did you make something like that? Kurenai tensed as Gonta asked, Konoha's green beast ring any bells? You don't mean? Yeah, him, asked Gonta. Anyway, I've got to get going. They're heading to another realm, and I don't know when they'll be back. Unlike here, Naruto is well respected there. After turning around, he stood up. After 3 seconds, he disappeared to the left, saying, exit, stage left. How does he do that? Shino inquired peacefully. Kurenai said, I have no idea. Her eyes grew wide as she said, he's an enigma. Almost like. Shino, take Hinata home. I have to meet with the Hokage on something. Almost a month has passed since Team 7 returned from Wave Country. Along with improving her reserves, Sakura has been working on her physical appearance. Sasuke has been practicing a few ninjutsu and his Sharingan. On the other hand, Naruto has been practicing his taijutsu, ninjutsu, and kenjutsu with Gonta and Haku. Since they haven't received another C rank recently, Naruto had been leaving the village with a shadow clone to tend to D ranks. Kakashi is currently being waited for by Team 7 on the bridge where they typically meet. Sakura, obviously irritated, inquired, where is he? Naruto caught their attention and said, Memorial Stone. He's got dead teammates to mourn, and it takes up quite some time. Caught him there once, never questioned it. It's the real reason he's always late. Those lame excuses. I might have to give my excuse booklet. They're bound to better than his. Kakashi made a joke. Sorry, got lost on the road to life. Naruto raised an eyebrow and said, really? Or as you got lost on the highway to hell? Kakashi blinked. Nice comeback. Naruto shrugged and said, I know what you do every morning. Thought it would fit. Anyway, let's just go get the stupid D rank. Actually, I already got it. And Naruto, you're going to love this. What makes you think that? Naruto arched an eyebrow at that, saying, for one, it's a C rank. The other is that it's in the village, and deals with your art, during the academy. Naruto nodded and said, you mean the pranking? It poofed out, raising eyebrows. Oh, this is gonna be good. I gotta let the boss know this. Be right here. 30 seconds later, a little exhausted, Naruto and Gonta emerged in the clearing. Who asked for it, any limitations, and how long do we have? Sume Inuzuka, nothing specified, and we have 3 days. Target. Kakashi provided the location's details. Some idiots in the civilian sector, apparently. Okay. Wait, that's the guy that. Oh, this is so going to be worth it. What do you mean? I've had a bone to pick with him ever since he tried raping Enko Midarashi. Naruto acknowledged. I couldn't do anything without dropping everything, and now that I'm a ninja, I couldn't do anything period. This just solved a lot of problems in my head. Surprised, Sakura said, then why don't we let you handle the planning? I mean, if you have something against him, yet you didn't do anything beforehand, surely you'd know what to do to him. Oh, I have had several thousand ideas for him. Every entry point, every time to move in, even the perfect traps, pranks, and everything else. Non-lethal, Naruto shot back, I didn't say anything about killing him physically. Although, by the time we're done with him, he'll either wish he was dead or try to commit suicide. If it's the latter, then we'd need proof of it being suicide. Sasuke said, I'm letting him handle this. I think it's best that you let us know of the plan before you set it off, Kakashi said. Sakura acknowledged, actually, I don't really want to know. Well, I suppose that narrows things down, but let me know what you're doing, Gonta replied. You know it, said Naruto. 2 days later, while waiting for his target to arrive, Naruto was positioned atop a tree. Naruto grinned as he realized what was about to happen the instant he did. Rewind. Gonta questioned, alright, so what did you come up with Team 7? Okay, here's the first thing. He works the evening shift in the Hokage Tower. He's well aware of how several shinobi and kunoichi think. No one knows how I think. So this is going to start off with an actual trap after he closes the door. Flashback. Over the door automatically locked as soon as he shut it. Although a little taken aback, he dismissed it. The first secrecy trap is the next component to be introduced. A seal of genjutsu. It will prevent anyone from hearing what is going to happen to him. Another genjutsu seal will then become active. He won't recognize it because he isn't a shinobi. The man began to feel far more exhausted than he had anticipated. He headed directly for his bedroom. The first offensive trap will be activated once he begins to walk to his bedroom. A number of senbon were released in his direction just before he arrived at the door. It was only when they struck him that he realized they were approaching. He stumbled even though they all struck non-vital areas. He will then begin extracting the senbon, and with the subsequent one, he will experience their effects. Another trap was set off as soon as the last one hit the ground. He avoided direct impact because he was partially prepared, but he was struck by the aftershock. He probably wouldn't know it would have a backdraft, so he would try to avoid it. He was hurled against the wall, which crunched slightly and drenched him in honey. Realizing that someone was trying to harm him, he began to stand up. He began to dash for the door in order to exit. He will be struck by multiple down feather pillows before he can make it to the door from that spot. Despite his chicken-like appearance, he attempted to approach the door and unlock it. One issue. When he does arrive, he will be even more taken aback. He made a vain attempt to unlock the door. You have wronged several women. This is redemption from Venus, the goddess of love and beauty. A woman's voice said. Naturally, in regards to my Naruto form, the voice will be a projection of a stronger version of that. What did I do wrong? I only did what anyone would do. Then face the full wrath of the chicken, courtesy of Mercury. It wasn't until he was hoisted into the air that he understood. The door will unlock once the chicken is finished and he has been lifted by the chakra string seal. He had no intention of going outside in this manner, but the door was eventually unlocked. He will be reluctant to go outside, as though he could make a decision. He was held up by the chakra string, which also opened the door and almost threw him out, landing him on a skateboard. The skateboard has tar all over everything except the wheels and trucks, said Naruto. Gonta said, that'll keep him on there. That's the point. Just past the Inuzuka estate, where Sume, her daughter Hana Inuzuka, and Kiba Inuzuka were sitting on the porch chatting, he was driving quickly down the deserted street. They turned their heads after hearing something and discovered the man Sume had mentioned to them the other day. Hana recognized him at once. What happened to him? Oh, I just asked for a C rank and asked specifically for Team 7. Kiba said, a little perplexed. Wait a minute. Team 7 has Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, right? Correct. Though, the reason I asked for that team was Naruto alone. What do you mean? Sume said, that's what it was. What I don't get is why it isn't happening when everyone is up and about. Hana said, perhaps they just needed us to see it. Kiba asked, then why is he heading to the shinobi-only apartments, to their surprise? Sume questioned, why would he go there? But Hana's eyes grew wide. Sume, Kiba, and Hana will be able to see him at the first stop, which is directly in front of the Inuzuka estate. Beyond the mission, the next stop is more intimate. Since he was unable to turn the skateboard, he crashed into a door and broke it down, only to discover Naruto standing next to an inebriated and enraged Anko Midarashi. Her gaze expanded. You. The man was a little scared when he saw her right away. Bad time? Anko yelled, you're the one that almost raped me. Naruto said, hey, Anko. Just managing to get her attention. He whispered some words into her ears and said, I've got an idea for you. Her smile grew wider as it continued. Good enough? With her eyes promising pain and her face in a sick, twisted, maniacal grin, she responded, "That's more than good enough." Several snakes followed him until the following morning after she grabbed him and sent him flying. He passed out at that point, so he was eaten. As his team debuted, Naruto remarked, "And that's how you take care of a criminal on multiple fronts." Kakashi said, "I've got to admit that was crazy. You must have some kind of sadistic side to you, or something." Naruto shrugged and said, "I do, I just rarely use it." Anko approached them. "Gaki, I really got to thank you for this. Now if only I could just find out the one person that stopped him the first time around." Her eyes widened as Naruto said, "You're looking at him. I helped you out then, and I never forgot what he was going for. This was payback. You do realize that since you're a shinobi, I can't hurt him? Well, that would be the case. If not for the fact it was a mission assigned to my team by one Sume Inuzuka. He did the same thing to her daughter, Hana Inuzuka. We were simply called in for the job." Another female said, "And I must say, you did it highly well." Kiba and Hana followed Sume as she approached them. "Although, I'm pretty sure he was supposed to live." Naruto asked his team, "I never explained the second genjutsu seal, did I?" And they all shook their heads. Naruto simply took out a scroll and opened a much bigger one. A sizable storage seal was visible when he opened it. The second one did not release an actual genjutsu. Kurenai Yuhi is not familiar with it, as it is tied with Fuinjutsu and cannot be used without it. What it does is keep him alive. "How does that happen?" Anko inquired, feeling a little relieved that she could murder someone without fear of repercussions. "For starters, the moment he dies, and no, it doesn't really prevent death, he is basically revived and sealed into this scroll. It only works once, and once he's unsealed, he will remember everything, even dying." He removed a person from it, who was still in the state of chicken. When he woke up, the crowd had begun to assemble. Everyone was giggling at him. Kakashi let out a laugh, but Anko, Team 7, and the Inuzukas all snickered at him from a nearby rooftop. Kurenai and an Anbu entered the area. The Anbu said, "Wait, isn't that?" "Yeah, it is." Kurenai answered accordingly. Sume said, "Thank me later." They both turned to Naruto and said, "Thank the blonde Gaki now." "Don't bother thanking me. It was a mission, and it was also a little personal. The personal part was resolved by someone else." Naruto acknowledged. Anko's gaze expanded. "You mean?" Naruto said, "Yeah, I let you take out your frustration on him. You like?" "Big time." Anko gave him a quick smile. "Oh yeah." Naruto flashed his teeth and gave a thumbs up. Kurenai and Kakashi shuddered and said, "Never underestimate the wrath of the chicken." Kakashi inquired, "Have you met Maeda Guy yet?" "Once. Gonta was with me," and his voice cut off at various intervals. Acknowledged Naruto. "I thank him for making it so I can't listen to his power of youth speeches. I didn't hear it once during that meeting." The eyes of Kurenai, Anko, and Kakashi grew wide. Perhaps they did, but the ANBU's eyes didn't. Because of the cat mask, Naruto was unable to determine. In case you want to know, Gonta is currently working on one that will allow it to work anytime it comes up in the village. "You mean?" Mute the sentences holding it, and unless it comes from a foreign shinobi, or no shinobi at all, it's not coming out in the middle of the village. Naruto said. "That's the plan, anyway." Kakashi said, "Oh, yeah. You've been nominated for Chunin exams." Kurenai had raised an eyebrow and said, "And what about Iruka?" "I made a few points after the meeting. In private, of course. He was most worried about Naruto, to be honest. I guess it's no surprise. He always considered me as a little brother, after all." Naruto sighed. "Although, it was my old act that was the reason. He saw through the first mask, but not the second. The second hid my abilities. Quite well, I might add. According to Sasuke, no kidding. When you really open up, I can't beat you. I also owe you for helping me unlock my Sharingan." Sakura continued, "And then there's teaching me medical ninjutsu. That's extremely useful. Especially when we get ourselves so banged up in our spars," replied Naruto. Sakura added, "Even more so then. At least I'm not a useless princess anymore." Naruto said, "You're still not on my list of loves, and you never will be." Sasuke went on, "Haku's got that position." Iruka arrived. "Naruto, what did you do?" The response was, "Finished off a C rank. Anyway, I was up all night watching the entire thing. I'll need an hour or two of meditation before we actually go for another round." "Wait. That was the mission you were assigned the other day?" Naruto smiled and said, "Yup," to him. She glanced at him, and he leaned in to whisper once more, by the way. Anko? She said, you're kidding me? I wish. Think you're up for it? She said, won't know until I try, right? Good, then why not ask right now? Anko momentarily froze. Kurenai saw it. Sume made a comment about it. What's got your panties in a jumble? Anko shunshined off. I've got to go to an appointment. She made an effort, at least. Gonta grabbed her right away. What kind of appointment? Couples therapy. Anko stumbled. W. Would you think that? Gonta grinned at her and said, a theory at first. You just confirmed it. They both disappeared after saying, I'll handle this one, Naruto. Naruto gazed up at the heavens. He departed without making a sound or giving a signal, saying, I love when a plan comes together. The clearing of forests in the middle were Gonta and Anko. Alright, I'm guessing that Naruto was suggesting you ask someone out on a date. I go on to guess that he told you to ask Iruka, correct? Anko inquired, how did you know? Well, Iruka's the only one in the village that's male, aside from the Sandame, that actually likes him for him. Anko sighed, why is it you're afraid of a relationship? She was surprised by that. What makes you think I am? Gonta held up a finger and said, well, the reaction earlier for one. 2, if I mentioned him by name, you'd go ballistic, so I'll call him by the moniker I have for him. Pedophilic snake bastard. Anko glanced down once more, it's the second one. Gonta said, figured as much. Iruka wouldn't care if you were a stupid whore, crazy idiot, or anything of the like. As long as he knows the true you, and not who everyone else sees you as, then he'll at least accept you. Naruto bonded with him as a Jinchuriki. Your best bet for a lifelong partner is Iruka. Naruto has Haku, though I've seen Hinata Hyuga watch over him from time to time. The blonde Gaki is taken, yet he still sticks up for me? Asked Anko. I'm surprised, to be honest. Well, I'm a little too old for you, and I'm somewhat like a father to Naruto, Gonta acknowledged. I see. So, give Iruka a chance. If he isn't up to snuff, then don't go for a second one. That's all there is to it. At least make an effort to get together with him. It won't be easy, with Orochimaru out there, but I can assure you that, when he does come, I'm after his head myself. Naruto has a bone to pick with him, as he caused your suffering. I'm after him because of the threat to the balance of life and death he poses. What do you mean? He's not immortal, not completely, however, he's got a new jutsu that allows him to transfer his soul to another body. That's why he's a threat to the balance of life and death. But that means, I have a reliable source for it, but until he makes his move, I can't do or say anything on it. If I do so too early, I risk letting him get away. Timing is everything in this. He's got to die, and for good reason, Gonta said. Why do you make it your business to uphold the balance? Know that what you're about to hear is not to get out. Team 7 is in the loop. Haku, Naruto's girlfriend, is in the loop, and the Hokage is also in the loop. Aside from that, no one knows, and I'd like to keep it that way. Gonta said. I want a solemn oath that you won't breathe a word of this. Hey, if it will screw over the council, why the fuck not? Replied Anko. If I do, I'd summon a snake and have it rip out my heart, and then have it eat me and the one I told. Unless you give permission otherwise. The wind blowing through the clearing was peculiar. You've been through the bingo book, correct? Yeah, what about it? According to Gonta, I'm in it. That can't be right, she said, taking one out and examining it. What rank? Gonta said, last I checked I was S rank. She turned to that section after giving him a startled look. I don't see you there. She found it and instantly froze. Look for the White Devil. No. There's a reason I'm called the White Devil, and it's not because of the strange transformation that I can use. Only 2 are aware of this next fact. I gained the White Devil title back home, where technology is far more advanced, but no one can use chakra, Gonta said. Before reading it, Anko said, wait a minute. Let me go over this for a second. Name. Not sure the White Devil is an alias. S. Borderline SS is the rank. Status. Try to recruit in auto, aim. Anywhere else, run away at first sight. If any, allegiance is unknown. Unknown bloodlines. Ability, ninjutsu. Not sure, genjutsu. Cage level assumed, unknown. Cage in taijutsu level of biju in kenjutsu levels of chakras, unknown. Affinities. Not specified weaponry. A red, bladed katana. A strange sword with hooks along the blade's edge and a serrated edge. Reason for listing. Removed countless missing nin without any known ninjutsu usage. Has an odd shape that makes it resemble a white dragon. At best, the form's details are vague. Reportedly paired with Shadow Fox. I hope you are not their target if they are discovered together. If you are, you will perish. If dead, the bounty is 50 trillion Ryu. Gonta said, bounty's gone up since I last checked. And you said where you come from, no one can use chakra. Correct. Said Gonta. I have no chakra to use. Ninjutsu and genjutsu are non-existent. Taijutsu is my own, and basically a combination between a light-hitting taijutsu and a heavy-hitting taijutsu. Basically, if you combine the Juken and Goken, here, you've got a good idea of it. Being as I can't use chakra, it's strange how it works out for me. At least it would be if I didn't explain how I use the light hits. What do you mean? Naruto is familiar with the style I use. I did teach him for years, after all. I take it he's Shadow Fox. Correct. He's got my taijutsu in his arsenal, and he uses chakra for the light hit. I, on the other hand, use something no ninja, aside from those that received it from the Shinigami herself, can use. The Nibi no Bakaneko can use it as well, though it is uncertain if her Jinchuriki can. It is called Reishi, or the energy of death. In essence, only someone that has been given a blessing from the Shinigami or has died with it in them, though highly unlikely, can use it. Naruto is the only one that can access it, but he hasn't met the final requirement. Actual death is required, not a false death, and he has to live through it to get it. Why can he access it? The seal holding back the Kyuubi, or Kurama as we call him, is powered by the Shinigami herself. Gonta stated to her. Wait a minute. The Shinigami is female? When you've been as close to her as I have, you tend to see things you never think of. The serrated blade is called Outsider, and it happens to be unique to me and me alone. Acknowledged Gonta. However, it's not the original one, which was destroyed back home. The Shinigami made me one, sent me here, and told me to collect a few things for her, and uphold the balance of life and death. In essence, I became the White Devil for real. Reishi can trigger my transformation, and it makes it real. I can also charge it through Outsider to make the hooks spin around it like a chainsaw. You can think about it as adding wind and lightning chakra to a blade, and combining their effects. That's some serious cutting power. That, and the fact that the motion will make even more damage to the target. The red-bladed katana is actually named Bloodbath. No one knows why but Naruto and me, but Bloodbath got its name from a slaughter back home. 523 people in one night, on my own. Similar to Itachi Uchiha, but mine was more of a mission, and I had to get to my target. It earned me the title White Devil, and Bloodbath got his name. Death number 523 was my target. I walked out of there with only one scratch, and that was nowhere near fatal. Got into a nearby forest, rested for a few hours, and left to cash in my target. The rest were found, and 522 people were reported killed, all of which were reported to be under a crime lord that would have destroyed the world if he could. And that world isn't ours? Gonta gave a headshake. I brought his head to my employer. I got paid at least twice as much as I usually ask for. I got paid, I was happy. I left there, and the news spread like wildfire. No one knows who did it, and for that I'm glad. It was also after that the Shinigami appeared in front of me, and said that my talents would be useful for her. I ended up in Lightning Country nearly 10 years ago. I've been traveling ever since. 5 years ago, I was passing through Fire Country to get to a target of mine at that point. I managed to find Naruto, and he was passed out. What happened then? Gonta began the story. Well, rewind. Naruto was unconscious next to Gonta, who was sitting by a fire. For some reason, I recognize this child, but I'm positive I've never seen him before. At least, not in person. He woke up in just 3 more minutes. He was shocked when Gonta said, "Glad to see you're awake, kid." The words, "relax," did not calm Naruto. If I wanted to hurt you, I'd have done it sometime in the last few hours you've been unconscious. Naruto remained dubious. You're going to take me to Gigi, aren't you? Gonta said, not sure yet. What's your name? You don't know who I am? Gonta acknowledged, I think I do, but your name escapes me, to be honest. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto almost yelled out loud. At that, Gonta froze. Naruto became aware of this. You okay? No. It isn't possible. You must be fucking joking with me. This Naruto Uzumaki is the one? Gonta hardly noticed his question because he was so taken aback. How old are you, Naruto? I think it's 8, Naruto said. Why? That should be about right. Naruto nodded wildly. Are you in a ninja academy? He asked. Which one? There's more than one? One for each ninja village, minus a few of the minor ones. Did you go into one of them? Gonta gave a headshake. I'm not a ninja, but I've taken down ninja that are actually far stronger than some Anbu. They're the guys in the masks. They're slow pokes. That may be true, but this is a time of peace. Standards are low for most. Say, would you like to learn a few things under me? But I want to be a ninja, not a bounty hunter. The most powerful one in Konohagakure. Gonta asked, Hokage, and was met with a smile and a nod. At this point, I doubt you can. What do you mean? One does not just get the title of Hokage. They have to prove themselves to both their village and their council. They need a multitude of skills that I can tell you don't have. It may seem harsh, but it's the truth. I can help you get stronger, but you have to keep my interference secret from everyone. Especially, the Hokage. After all, I have already gained a reputation around the entire elemental nations. You mean I can't show off what I learned from you? I've heard several sayings among demons a while back. Gonta said. A stupid demon lives longer than a demon that proudly displays its power in front of someone that wishes to kill him. The easiest way to do this. While you learn things from me, you play the fool. Go for a loud, hyperactive, knucklehead. A what? I'll put it another way. Shout to the world anytime you talk, aside from the depressing parts of your life, or when anger is present. That's loud. Act as if you can't sit still for more than a few minutes. That's hyperactive. Knucklehead is basically the clincher here. It means you don't understand a word of what they say. All the while, you wait for them to train you, and keep an eye on things. I'll be training you in taijutsu, and giving you a few things regarding ninjutsu that I know how to perform, or how they're used. There is more to it than that, though. Naruto questioned, does this mean I can't pull any more pranks? According to Gonta, no, it doesn't. There is a lot about yourself that you need to know, if you don't know already. Like your parents and why a lot of people are bound to hate you. You know who they are? I know of them, yes. I'm one of the few that knew they even had a child that survived. You know how to use chakra, correct? Gonta responded with a wink. He picked up a rock that was no larger than 2 inches in diameter and said, all right, the first lesson can be taught now. Anything can be used as a weapon. He threw the rock, which caused a hole in a tree, saying, this rock can be a weapon, and even kill if used properly. If that was a head, it would have killed the target. With curiosity, Naruto inquired, how did you do that? I simply know how to use anything as a weapon. I've been training like this since I was 5, after all. By the time you reach Genin rank, you'd be able to do that with a blade of grass. Your chakra is the same way. What do you mean? You know how to access it, sure, but if you can't control it, or use it properly, it's virtually useless. Gonta stated to him. All weapons and tools are that way. Another example. A novice with a kunai is up against someone who has a rock, and can do what I did to the tree with it. Who wins? Kunai, easily. Wrong. Said Gonta. The rock will win, because the novice has no control over the kunai. It's not a matter of who has the most efficient or flashiest weapon. All that matters is the wielder's skill with the weapon they wield. Now, let's get to work. Rewind, Kai. A year later, he met the Kyuubi. Found out who his parents were, why he was hated, the Kyuubi's name, and got him a second trainer that wouldn't stunt his progress. Anko acknowledged, and he stuck to the pranks like glue. What did you teach him? Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, one other he can't use unless he's a Chunin, or has taken the Chunin exams once, and no, I'm not revealing its name. Then there's how to control chakra, ninjutsu among 3 elements without hand signs. Kurama had the other 2 elements. Kurama and I worked together with a 6th, which he picks up like a sponge. Wind and fire are the easiest for him. He also soaks up wind jutsu like a sponge, and Kurama helps out with the fire. He can use wind and fire elements like the Raikage uses his lightning element for his Raiden. Lightning armor. Massive burns, or extreme amounts of cutting power in his taijutsu. Anko whistled. That's got to be useful, that's kind of the point. Thing is, the majority of the jutsu he learned from me he learned without knowing the hand signs in the first place. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu is the only one that I taught him the hand signs for. That was it. Every other jutsu I taught him, he learned how to use without hand signs to begin. That goes to show you just how powerful he is in ninjutsu. He's a ninjutsu tank, easily, and he doesn't slack off in taijutsu, or kenjutsu. Not even I'm aware of his skill in genjutsu, mainly because I don't use them, and I couldn't explain how to use one in the first place. I've come across a lot of jutsu in my travels, and I've been giving him the basics of them all. With his ingenuity, and he knows that I don't look for the hand signs, he works out the kinks in each one, and figures out how to use it, proving that he knows how to use it like an actual master of the jutsu to me. What would you say is his favorite? He told me of Mizuki on the way back that even if he killed the bastard, he wouldn't be affected that much. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Easily. He said, and I quote, "There's nothing more gratifying or satisfying than pummeling a bastard that wants to kill you with more than 2,000 hands and 2,000 feet. His first kill occurred at 9, and it was someone who was about to rape someone. Damn. How did he get over it? Well, he didn't regret the kill, because it was either do that, or let him rape her. We both frown on perverts, and hate rapists. He makes sure it's possible to justify a kill before he does. That way, he doesn't regret it, and it won't affect him much, and if it does, he's got a personal therapist sealed in his gut. He's good. Okay. The blonde Gaki is at least Kage level in ninjutsu, perfect control, knows a shitload of ninjutsu without hand signs. Taijutsu is the most feared one to appear in who knows how long. Do I have everything so far?" Gonta said, utterly relaxed, aside from insane chakra levels from Kurama. "Yeah. You've got one hell of a student, you know that? Yeah, his A rank status doesn't do him justice. He's already surpassed his father, he knows it, and he doesn't care. He's still being trained by Kurama and myself. He's been progressing extremely fast with Kenjutsu lately, since he's using something that was suggested for him. He knows not to reveal it to anyone that doesn't know about it yet, so don't ask about it." Noted. Hey, that blonde Gaki is gonna bring a lot of trouble to anyone he wants to. Just be glad that he doesn't want to destroy the village. Otherwise, he'd have done it already. And I know, full well, that he could. Gonta said. He's not as stupid as some make him out to be. He drew attention to himself, but it was not the kind of attention that would have people take him seriously, so that only added to the effect that we wanted. "Damn, Gaki's got more in his arsenal than anyone else here," said Anko. "I really wish you'd help me out, but I highly doubt you would. Mainly because of something that Snake gave me." "Curse mark?" she asked, nodding. "I can help with that, but afterwards you're on your own." "I thought you couldn't use any type of jutsu. That only applies to ninjutsu and genjutsu. Taijutsu, fuinjutsu, and kenjutsu are my specialties that you could possibly understand. I can easily reverse the effects of the curse with a little shijutsu that I came up with. All shijutsu that I know, aside from a select few I learned from the Shinigami, are of my own ideas, or ideas a few of my old friends had before they passed on. This is one a friend of mine came up with, and through shijutsu, I can use it." "Then could you do it right now?" "Why not? The moment it starts, Naruto is going to know, and he will come running. He knows the feel of my reishi, but he doesn't know of this particular one. The main reason being, I haven't used it around him, and I never really explained it to him." Gonta clarified. "Make sure the curse will not be covered up if your clothing starts shaking, because if it does, shit will hit the fan faster than the Yondaime can move with the Hiraishin." She smiled and removed the majority of her shirt. "No peeking though. Please, if I wanted to do that, I would have done something else among shijutsu. Shinigami uses it often, though. Thankfully, I'm not around when she does. Otherwise, I do something I might regret," Gonta acknowledged. According to Anko, good to know. Gonta inhaled deeply and prepared himself. He began, "Here goes. Shijutsu. Reverse of yin. Yang." He threw his left-right arm toward the curse mark, and black, flame, like energy whirled around it. Each of them then struck one of its tomo with the curse after separating from the arm at different points. Curse reverse. In other places, Haku and Naruto were in a living room. They had been conversing for some time. Naruto felt something and paused in the middle of his sentence. "What's up?" He turned his head over his left shoulder and remarked, "Gonta. That's his reishi. Why would he need it?" "Good swordsman," mentioned Haku. Naruto then stood up and leapt out the window, with Haku trailing behind him. No, this is too much for him to use against another swordsman. He didn't use even 2% of the amount he's releasing now. He's obviously using one of his shijutsu. Clearing Haku followed Naruto as he entered the area. Gonta was discovered forcing his reishi into Anko's neck. Gonta said, "Told you he'd come." Anko merely gave a small nod. "Don't worry, Naruto. She'll be fine after this. It's not something I've shown you, due to the fact there was no need to use it before. You've shown me a few shijutsu, but which one are you doing?" Sweat trickled down his brow as he said, "Reverse of yin. Yang. You haven't heard of this one, because I've only used it once, and you weren't there. I've got to focus on this." Haku nodded as Naruto glanced at him. It took Sasuke 30 seconds to land there. Then he saw Anko and Gonta and said, "You're hard to catch. What are they doing?" "I'm not sure, but I think it has something to do with the curse mark on Anko. Among the few people on my shit list, Orochimaru of the Sannin is among them." Naruto clarified. "The reason is the same thing Gonta Sensei is working on. Kakashi is our sensei. I have both as my sensei, even though we share Kakashi as one. Oh, and I like the fact that I can show off some of the lower level wind jutsu now. I can show just how much mastery with wind chakra I have. I really had no other choice when it came to ninjutsu, since I didn't have access to the hand signs as I was learning. It helped out immensely with my control. All my jutsu are straight manipulation, aside from the Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, with which I can bring out my own personal army and still kick ass. If your control is that high, why did you still flunk out with the Bunshin no Jutsu?" "That was the suppressor seal, along with the resistance seal. My chakra control was still highly screw up like that, and that's how I got it up. I go through tree climbing, water walking, and even a few others that I usually shouldn't even know about, as they aren't even chakra control exercises, officially." Naruto acknowledged. "And even if I wanted to, I couldn't teach them to you, because they are not able to be used with chakra, but is possible with reishi, which is what Gonta Sensei is using, and Yuki, which I have access to and can use myself. Though, that's only in tight spots." At this moment, a purple orb left Anko's neck and headed into the air as Gonta's hand shot upward. Gonta shut his hand. Reishi purification. The purple energy began to shine profoundly purple, turned into a crystallized stone, then glowed bright white, and then charged directly at Anko's neck. She let out a scream. Sensing this would occur, Naruto surrounded them both with a sound barrier so they couldn't hear her. Haku yelled at him, "She's in a lot of pain. Why aren't you helping her?" His response was, "There's nothing else I can do that won't endanger her more. If I tried to interfere, then I would either cause her death due to instability, or I'd cause a massive explosion, taking the whole of Konohagakure, along with all of us, and sending everything in the area into oblivion. Worse things could happen, and I'm not about to risk that. The best I can do is keep a sound barrier up that would prevent anyone from hearing her screams except the two of them. There are too many variables here that I wouldn't be able to come up with anything else in time." Sasuke asked, "What good will that do?" With his nose bleeding, Naruto remarked, "If the Anbu heard her, they will intervene and possibly cause the village's destruction. Anyway, I'm having a hard time keeping the barrier in place, so no more questions until it's done." Anko's screams stopped after about 30 seconds, which was painful for Naruto, and she passed out. Panting, Gonta took a seat. He was immediately followed by Naruto, who said, "Damn, that was one powerful curse." His expression conveyed a single word. "Explain." "That was a shijutsu. One of my own creation, though the idea came from one of my friends. Basically, it can take almost anything harmful and purify it. However, during the process, it also makes anything that would usually heal useless, as they would have no effect. In case you didn't notice, it takes a constant stream of large quantities of reishi in order to perform." Gonta turned to Haku. "Haku, you think you can stop his brain from working for a few minutes?" Haku yelled, "But that would kill him," and Sasuke's eyes widened. "There's a reason for this, and it lies in Kurama's seal. Naruto has reishi imbued into the seal itself. A full death would allow it to manifest in his body, allowing the use of shijutsu. Took me a while to figure it out, but a fake death won't work. Naruto, we'd also need Kurama's help to revive you like that. We have, 6 days until the Chunin exams?" Sasuke and Naruto both nodded. Then getting him the ability to use it, and then having maybe 400 Kage Bunshin working on 1 or 2 shijutsu, mainly ones that work well with taijutsu and kenjutsu, and working on them until the first portion, then the same amount during the first portion, along with an extra 10 or so for something else regarding it, will help immensely. If I'm correct, the first portion is a written test, but the true goal is information gathering. It usually is. After something like that, it would take at least a month to recover." Haku yelled. "He's recovered from chakra exhaustion in 1 night's rest," Sasuke said. "It would normally take a week to recover from that much exhaustion. He's got more chakra than most would ever believe, due to his Jinchuriki status, and even then he's got enough chakra on his own, without the seals, in order to match the Ichibi, if not come close to it," Gonta said. "Most would take a month to be fully recovered from that. Yet for him, about 12 hours of rest would easily do the trick." Haku found that surprising. She stared at Naruto in awe. How could you not explode from that much chakra? "Well, the majority of it would be restricted severely, but that's only when they're active. However, even if they're not, I let my body get used to the unrestricted flow, so when I do unseal myself, I don't gain a disadvantage along with the boost. Acknowledged Naruto. If I have too much chakra, and not enough control over it, then there is no way I'd be able to do anything with it. Gonta stood up and put her own trench coat over Anko. You've taken your first lesson to heart, I see. Quite bluntly, Naruto stated, of course I did. Taking a rock and throwing it behind him, he said, that's the second biggest lesson you've ever taught me. Then a tree was knocked over by the rock. After hearing the crash, Haku and Sasuke turned to face the downed tree. Naruto just gave it a thumbs up. That's the biggest lesson you've ever taught me, and by far the most dangerous. Those two lessons together are the reason I was named the Shadow Fox. No one could ever find out what was used for the killing blow, as there was nothing anyone could ever think was a weapon without thinking out of the ballpark. Sasuke asked, don't you mean, out of the box? No, out of the box is still the infield. Heck, that's home plate, replied Naruto. What I'm talking about is past infield, past outfield, the stands, the roof, and then further than that. That's how far out of the human mindset that you need to think in order to find out just how I got rid of my targets. Killing with a blade of grass falls just short of the roof for most. Curious, Sasuke inquired, where is it for you? Naruto paused to reflect. Just short of outfield, probably. Where most people would think out of the ballpark, I'd say is more like half-way through outfield for me. He glanced at Sasuke. Why do you ask? Any way you can tell me how? A simple lesson in psychology. No two minds function the same way, replied Naruto. That's why I think so differently. I embrace my own mindset, and I adapt the situation to my mind, instead of my mind to the situation. Many say that takes too long, and will get you killed. That's exactly how I survive. Haku gave him a disbelieving glance. You're really considering this? A ninja uses everything he has to accomplish the mission. I can't even access an ability I could, and I'd need to train with it before I apply it in combat, but it's still able to be used outside of real-time combat. And with what's coming, I'd say you could use any advantage you can get. Gonta concluded. Reishi can only be used by me in the Nibi, among those in the elemental countries. Naruto has it with him, but he can't access it. He needs an actual death. One that would allow the Reishi to duplicate itself and add it to his body. That's why an actual death is needed. Besides, the bastard will not be getting away from this unscathed, if he lives to see another day. Naruto questioned, pedophilic snake bastard, and was nodded. If he's coming, then that means. It would appear so, but then what about? Can't say anything. No proof? None that is physical. Kidodo? Working with the Tanuki? Desert? Most likely. Bodies? Best way. Haku and Sasuke looked on in confusion as they joked back and forth. What about? Gonta turned to face the northern skies and said, I wish we could. And if we get? Gonta scowled at Naruto and said, don't even consider that. That's one thing we can't do for our own safety. Why not? Yondaime did the same thing. Then we should. You really want to go that route? I don't see why not. And lose any secrecy you've got? Do you see any other option? I've got 3 others, at the moment. Haku asked, grabbing both of their attention. Excuse me? The simultaneous response was, what? She questioned, what, exactly, are you talking about? Both of them blinked. I guess we think so much alike that we forgot about the others, said Naruto. Not to mention they can't read minds, we weren't. We connected our mental frequency, I know. Gonta noted that, it's virtually the same thing. It is? In a way, yes. Sasuke gave them a look. Connecting your mental frequency? Gonta gave him a look. Twins do it all the time. It's how they know what the other is feeling. Naruto went on to say, or thinking. Anko moaned, and Sasuke and Haku blinked. All 4 of them turned to her at this point. She turned to Gonta and asked, what happened? Did it work? Try to access it. The shape is now that of a dragon, not the 3 Tomo it was before. What do you mean? She asked, observing the mark in the shape of a dragon. How did you? If I knew, I'd explain it. Reverse of yin. Yang is, regrettably, something that I haven't used often. The fact of the matter is, I can't use it so freely. The full effects of it are widely unknown, even to me. All I know is, whatever harmful can become helpful, and helpful becomes neutralize. I haven't used it enough to give an accurate description of what it is, aside from the original intention, which does work. There's a plethora of uses that I can't say whether or not they do work correctly, and even more that I have no idea whether or not they exist. At this point, using it is a gamble, at best. So you have no idea if it worked? I know of a few purification jutsu, but they're labeled kinjutsu because of the effect it tends to have on humans. I'm an exception, being a Jinchuriki, but if Kurama goes, and I survive, unless I become a Hanyu, demon, or devil, and yes there is a difference, then I wouldn't be able to use them, much less survive having it used on me. Haku questioned, and you'd use it on her? Before his eyes widened and he grimaced, Naruto said, not her. The energy she'd be emitting. Why didn't I think of that before? Gonta gave him a disbelieving glance. So much like me, you don't even realize you have a great plan for something until you say it out loud after the fact, or it comes to you on the spot. Naruto said, damn, you and I are a little too much alike. Maybe that's why we can sync our minds so easily. Probably. So, are you sure it will work? If I had an answer, then I'd give it to you. I don't even have the odds to give you. Gonta acknowledged. It's simply hit or miss. Haku whipped around when Naruto said, we'll do this tomorrow. She yelled, you can't be serious. With wide eyes, Sasuke questioned, you're willing to put your life on the line? He turned and gave Haku a gentle glance before saying, if it means gaining the power to protect those close to me, then yes. I would. I'm sorry, Haku, but I have to do this. I know you don't need to be protected, but I want to at least be able to help you out whenever and wherever I can. You're the only one I can ask to do this. Nearly anyone else would just kill me and be done with it. Gonta wrote, then I'll get a spot ready in training ground 48. He turned to face Anko and said, I'll wait for you there. Not a word of this. If he lives, he'll be able to protect the village better. If he dies, at least 80% of this village will be happy, and I'll head to the Shinigami and play her in poker for his soul. Gonta grinned as a voice said, there is no need. You heard the entire thing, didn't you? You do realize you could have asked for the game and I'd give him that if you won. That's a mighty big if. Gonta said, then why don't we play here and now? It'll save us the trouble. First, what warranted this decision? She nodded and said, you know of Orochimaru, correct? He's coming. You tasked me with keeping balance in this world. He's got plans for this village, and I'm currently in the process of figuring them out. That's one of the reasons you're here right now. You know the moment he dies, I'm giving his soul to you. I need the help, anyway. He's the only one that knows the feel of my reishi, and that's because he's been around me often enough. No one else has. Partners to the end? Basically, one game. Best out of 3. That way we can't call it cheating. Deal. Before the Shinigami, a deck of cards materialized. That's not the deck that's usually used for poker. You're switching this up, aren't you? Is there a problem? Gonta turned his gaze to the deck. Then it struck him like the right hook of Tsunade. A duel? Really? So, you aren't game? Hell no. This is one of the ways I unwound way back when. Picture your deck then. Gonta grinned and said, fine by me. Then a contemplative expression appeared on his face. Any restrictions? None. Deck building? The usual. Dual discs? 5D's variant. Give me chaos. That's more my speed. Very well. The Shinigami quickly changed into a man with blonde hair wearing a white jumpsuit. You just had to shift into Jack, didn't you? What? He's hot as hell. Before the Chaos Dual Disc materialized on his left arm with the deck in place, Gonta said, in my opinion, you should have gone Aki. She's more your speed, if you ask me. Let's get this over with. 8,000 life points. The simultaneous cry was, duel. As Shinigami and Gonta gazed at one another, a Chaos Dual Disc was placed on Gonta's arm and 5D's standard Dual Disc was placed on Shinigami's arm. 8,000 life points. You're holding 5 cards, Gonta said. Duel. They both sobbed at the same time. I'll take the lead. Draw. Gonta pulled out a card and yelled. First, I'll set 3 cards face down. He was presented with 3 cards. Then I'll activate the field spell, Dragon's Ravine. What does that do? Inquired Shinigami. In essence, it lets me send a dragon-type monster from my deck to the graveyard and discard 1 card from my hand. I won't do that now, though. I'll end my turn by calling forth Mirage Dragon instead, Gonta said. It's my turn. Draw, Shinigami said. I'll place 1 monster and 3 cards face down. Turn around. With a hint of disappointment, Shinigami spoke. My draw. Gonta examined his hand. Well, this is a little embarrassing right now. Turn end. Draw, Shinigami yelled. I'll set 1 card and end my turn. My draw, Gonta said. Naruto watched from the sidelines, somewhat intrigued. Sasuke appeared somewhat irritated. Haku. She simply didn't care. Why doesn't he attack? Sasuke asked. It's probably because of those face downs on Shinigami's field, Naruto said. Gonta taught me a little about this game. This doesn't really make sense, though. The effect of Mirage Dragon would prevent Shinigami from using trap cards during the battle phase. What is he pursuing? I think Gonta is trying to go for something else, Haku recommended. Anko was still present but said nothing. But her thoughts differed from everyone else's. It's clear that the devices on their arms are the source of this if it's some form of elaborate genjutsu. The card was added to Gonta's hand. I'll turn on Dragon's Ravine's effect. I'll send the Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon to the graveyard by discarding one card. Big whoop. Shinigami shot back. That is not what he would do. He's at least 10 years out of practice, and I'll admit that I don't have much experience in this area. Were they her ideas? Grab this now. I will pay homage to summon Light Pulsar Dragon with my Mirage Dragon, Gonta said. Nice try. A button was pressed by Shinigami. I am turning on my trap card. Trap hole with no bottom. We've destroyed your Light Pulsar Dragon and taken it out of the PLA. I'm afraid I can't let you do that. Then Gonta himself pushed a button. I'll turn on my trap card now. Evacuation device required. The card itself appeared. I'll be sending my Light Pulsar Dragon to my hand, rendering your bottomless trap hole useless. That was messed up, Shinigami mentally acknowledged. However, it appears that his abilities haven't really declined. Or perhaps he has and is merely utilizing an easy.to.use tool. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. He did all that to protect that dragon? That, and Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon is in his graveyard, Naruto said, grabbing the other three's attention. If he can get it on the field. I activate Call of the Haunted, Gonta shouted. Like with that. Naruto gave a deadpan. I guess I saw that coming, somehow. I'll special summon Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon. Oh shit. Naruto said. Shinigami is in for it now. How so? Everyone wondered if she ever left when Enko asked. Naruto said, you'll see. I can special summon one dragon-type monster from my hand or graveyard per turn by using the Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon effect. Welcome back. Light Pulsar Dragon, Gonta yelled. Haku could see another thing coming. Light Pulsar Dragon, attack. My trap card was just activated. Armor of Sakuretsu. The Dragon of Light Pulsar has been destroyed. Not so quick. I will activate my spell card, Mystical Space Typhoon, while you activate your Sakuretsu armor. So which one? My Call of the Haunted, of course. Gonta smirked as he spoke, perplexing the Shinigami. With Call of the Haunted destroyed, Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon is sent to the graveyard. Sakuretsu armor will still destroy your Light Pulsar Dragon. And that's the beauty of this. Gonta shot back, his grin never taking off. You see, I can special summon a dark monster from my graveyard that is at least level 5 now that the Light Pulsar Dragon has been destroyed. Coincidentally, I will be reviving my Red Eyes. The Darkness Metal Dragon with Red Eyes returned to the field. Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. My trap card is now active. Threatening roar. You are not permitted to launch an attack during this turn, Shinigami said. Gonta gave a snort. All right. Turn end. Draw, please assist me. He examined the card. I turn on the Meteor of Destruction spell card. You are deprived of 1,000 life points. What the heck? I still have 7,000. Gonta shot back. Shinigami pondered. He's correct. There isn't much I can use. It's amazing to think that I visited his realm and created a deck. They claimed that my deck was a complete sham, but now I am unable to draw any of my important cards. I'll set one card and end my turn. Draw. I'll turn on the Darkness Metal Dragon's effect on my Red Eyes. Light Pulsar Dragon is being called forth from my graveyard. Attack. Light Pulsar Dragon. Light Pulsar Dragon emits a beam of light that strikes the face-down monster. You set off the effect of my monster. All battle damage for this turn is nullified if Winged Karibo is destroyed in a battle and sent to the graveyard. I'm safe, at least temporarily. I end my turn. With a hint of annoyance, Gonta said. I draw. Shinigami suppressed a snarl. Turn end. What's going on? Anko inquired. Shinigami is a little pissed at the moment, Naruto said. I recognize that. Why? She is divine. She detests defeat. And she is aware that's precisely what's taking place. Furthermore, Gonta is able to tell. Naruto acknowledged. Sasuke said, you sure about that? You're not the one that trained under him for years. The Uchiha were silenced by Naruto's response. Gonta pulled out a second card. My turn. He was a little bored, he said in his voice. I'll turn on the effect of darkness metal. Come to me, Blue Eyes White Dragon. Ah, shit. Was all that the Shinigami could think about. Red eyes, attack. I turn on defense draw. I get to draw a card with no battle damage. That will be beneficial. Not much, though. You're next, Light Pulsar Dragon. Blast him. Shinigami let out a grunt. It doesn't stop there, Blue Eyes. The god of death was struck by a pillar of light. You know, I expected more from a goddess of death. Shinigami remained silent. Your move. Without saying a word, Shinigami drew a card. I activate Tribute to the Doomed. Don't bother explaining its effect, as I already know it. Yo, Gonta. Naruto's voice reached them. You seem to be forgetting that we have 3 people in the audience that doesn't know its effect. You know it, don't you? Gonta raised an eyebrow in response. Basically, when it's activated, the user discards 1 card and destroys 1 monster on the field. Naruto clarified. I'll be discarding gift card. Shinigami said. Get rid of your Light Pulsar Dragon. Naruto let out a sigh. Shinigami is a sore loser, apparently. The others took notice of this. Consider it. Gonta can special summon a monster from his hand or graveyard thanks to the Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon effect. Red Eyes will reappear if the same person is in the graveyard when Light Pulsar is destroyed and dumped there. I'll set 1 card and use my hand's Swift Gaia the Fierce Knight effect. I can normally summon it without paying a tribute because it's the only card I have in my hand. Shinigami's anger was evident to all. Turn end. Draw, Gonta grinned. It seems like this is your final opportunity. My Dragon's Ravine field spell is coming into action. I'll use it to send 1 dragon-type monster from my deck to the graveyard and discard 1 card from my hand. I'll also send a white dragon with blue eyes. However, it won't remain there for long. Naruto sighed in that instant. No, unless Shinigami is able to resist the summon. She is doomed unless she possesses a mirror force, negative attack, or threatening roar face down. With Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, I'll bring my blue eyes that I just sent to the graveyard to the field. Shinigami swore to himself. Darkness Metal Dragon. Attack his knight. Shinigami let out a painful grunt. Uck. His words, Blue Eyes White Dragon, were paused. I'm going to use a different phrase. Blue Eyes. Rape her ass. The Shinigami, still in the Jack Atlas form, struck her knees after the beam struck her squarely. Gonta extended his hand in a V shape with 2 fingers to the audience. That's game. Alright, you win. However, you won't be as fortunate the next time. Shinigami said. You wanted Naruto to be able to use Reishi? And I won. I'm a man of my word, so to speak. She changed into the shape she typically takes when she is around mortals. Naruto Uzumaki, you now have Reishi's blessing. I'm leaving. We'll duel again, Gonta. I haven't forgotten how to use my favorite deck just because I haven't dueled in almost 15 years. I can turn almost any hand into a winning duel, which is why my deck was dubbed my bullshit deck. That's what my deck was like. Oh, just be relieved that I didn't use Swords of Revealing Light and Future Fusion during my first turn. It would have cost you even more. Especially if Diffusion was what I drew. Total ownership. I've actually done that once. Shinigami pivoted. If I had only drawn 1 card, you would have lost that duel. Oh. Which one? I received 2 face downs. One was a gift card, and the other was a trap card for the Paths of Destiny. The instant my turn ended, I would have been done if I had drawn a single continuous trap card rather than Tribute to the Doomed. Which one? Bad reaction to Samochi. Gonta went pale. Oh no, it makes sense why they referred to it as a bullshit deck. After giving a nod, Shinigami quickly departed. Anyone want to go for duel? Gonta inquired. The others paused. Not like mine with Shinigami. With excitement, Naruto held up his hand. Alright then. Naruto drew his Suba, and he drew the outsider. Let's do this. As they both vanished and resurfaced in the middle of the clearing, swords locked. Naruto uttered those words. Anko, Haku, and Sasuke all started to perspire. Hey, anyone up for lunch? Haku inquired. As long as it's not ramen or dango. Sasuke said. Yakisoba? Haku inquired. I'm game. Might as well. Anko went on. It's not dango, but it's good enough. As Naruto attempted another slash at Gonta, they left the clearing.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.